forgot to put myself on. Good morning, everyone. Good to see all of you this morning. Oh man, I had a really rough time getting up this morning. So we'll see how happy I sound, because usually I am very, very grumpy person in the morning. So we'll see how it goes today, because I do not want to be up at all. Good morning, Holly. Good to see you in the comment section. Thank you for coming by. We got a little bit of things to talk about today. I was having a little bit of hard time trying to find some stuff. I wanted to talk about the whole like Dave Chappelle Saturday Night Live thing yesterday, but I've been like terrified that it's gonna give me oh, I sound better. Awesome. I started using my little mic right here. So definitely excited about being able to use my mic. I've had this thing forever and I've never used it. So I'm excited I finally get to use this damn thing. Good morning, Willie. Good to see you. Good morning, Brandy. Thank you for stopping by. But yeah, I was wanting to do like the Dave Chappelle thing, but I was afraid we are going to get like copyright striked on it. So hopefully maybe we can go through pieces today and talk about it, because it seems like everybody on YouTube is showing at least pieces of it. So I thought maybe we can just kind of, go over that. I'm not feeling any better, still feeling just as sick. Just handling it as best as I can, doing as best as I can with the handling of it. So it's definitely a little bit different. It's more like it feels more like a head and body cold than anything. It's almost feels like I've got the wah-wahs or something, like everything's just wah-wah. It's like everything is moving. I'm like surprised I'm not sitting here like this. So it's just one of those like head body colds where I just feel like, like I've took some, I don't know, some kind of like PM nighttime medicine and I'm trying to stay awake from it. That's how it feels today. So we'll see how it goes. Like I've been saying last week, I'm only going to do until like 1 o'clock today for 3 hours and try not to do 4 hours and see how that works this week. Oh, thanks, Willie. Yeah, I just learned about them yesterday. They were pretty interesting, actually. Yeah, he's definitely funny. He's got some really, really good words. Like he just says things really well. I was asking yesterday if he has a writer or something, or if he writes it all up, because there's just no way that I can come up with that good of stuff that quickly in my head like that. So definitely, yeah. I was thinking of taking some Dayquil, Holly. I'm not sure. Oh, I'm getting some sleep. It's just I battle with my cats all night and my animals all night long. So it's just I'm constantly like, I think last night I slept in the shape of a question mark, because all of my animals sleep with us on the bed as well. So just trying to find room for all of us on a queen size bed. It's a lot of fun, but they do give me lack of sleep, and then getting up and having, and then doing the show and stuff. I went to bed at a decent time. I think I got caught up watching like true crime stuff last night and just might have stayed up until a little bit later than normal. I thought I was doing good on time last night, but like I said, I got caught up in some really good crime shows. So there's this new show called like, I don't know if it's new or not, but I've never seen it before. It's like I dated a psycho or something, and it's about these people who like dated a like complete psychopath and ended up doing like crazy stuff to them, like trying to murder them and stuff. It was wild. There's some really good shows last night about it. I've never heard of it before. Miss Lady, hey, come here. Get out of there. What are you guys doing? Hey. My dogs are in the room. Come on, out. Both of you. Come on. Come on. Out of the room. You guys know better. Damn dogs. They're all trying to like go in the bedroom when they know they're not supposed to be. Little brats. Good morning, Yona. Good to see you. Thank you. Yeah, I'm probably gonna have to get something. I try to smoke the weed. I tried to hit it, but like it hurts in my throat too. So it's like any of the smoke that goes down there, it's like extra hard. So I'm trying. I took one hit this morning and then that was it. I was like, all right, I think I'm done, which is weird because I usually won't do that. So, so yeah. What else I got some other things we could probably talk. Man, the news is like kind of boring right now. There is some interesting things, but most of it that I saw was like, I know Mike Pence did an interview on David Muir talking about January 6th. Then this morning, Ro Khanna went on The Rising to talk about Nancy Pelosi. What is the title of it? Nancy Pelosi, sympathetic to left. Ukraine letter is much ado about nothing. So we'll watch that. I kind of skimmed through it a little bit. Figure we could talk some shit. There was a blast in Istanbul the other day. I didn't cover it yesterday. Some kind of company called FTX, crypto company ran by somebody, ended up going bankrupt. Definitely some dirty, scammy practices going on with there. And then this morning, I was looking through, found an interview with Jeff Bezos. He was talking about giving away most of his money, but then like a bunch of other sites are like he's laying off 10,000 workers as well. So, which when I was watching it, I think when he said he was giving away his money, it's kind of like some kind of like Bezos fund or something. So it's something that he owns anyway. So it's actually not really getting rid of his money. But I got all of those up and ready to probably start watching them. I'm telling you guys, man, between the sickness and me, hey, get out of there, go. Between the sickness and me being tired, I'm just like, I'm not having this today. I can hear myself echoing in my head. Need the cold wallet for crypto. Yes, Bezos is vile. It's ridiculous what he's doing. But that's like what I have most of on my stuff here is the Bezos giving away his money. It was wild to watch it. So very interesting to see, like, because when he talks, you want to sit there and you're like, you want to think like, oh, is he going to be the guy that, we always talk about? Like, we always want like that. Or some people say that they want the one rich man to like give away all of his money and take care of, humanity and stuff and make humanity a better place. So he makes it sound like he's doing that, but it's really his own companies that he's donating all this money to, so he doesn't really have to lose the money or the value of himself. So it was interesting to see his wife on there too, because like or his girlfriend, because I know they've only been dating for like so long, but she just talks like they've been together forever, like they're just best friends. It's so fucking weird. So like it's like when Bill Gates got into philanthropy, coincidentally all of his charities go back. Yeah, exactly. I saw a video about that same thing. A lot of people do that. They're like, oh, I'm going to donate to these charities, and you end up finding out like they're charities and nonprofits that are actually still owned by that person. So yeah, they get to keep their their value and shit, so that way it doesn't actually go away while pretending and telling people that they're helping out others. So what's up, little guy? You got your toy? Burton. He's playing with the toy right now. And there he goes being psycho again. Burton. All right, he's not going to listen to me. Good morning, Shake and Bacon. Good to see you up in the comment section. What's up, Miss Lady? You want ups? I know you want ups, but I can't do uppies today. I just don't feel like having anyone on my lap. I don't feel like babying anyone right now, okay? You want to? All right, come on. Oh, goodness gracious. You're such a big old baby. So yeah, what did I do yesterday? Lots of video games. That's what I did. I try to do lots of video games in between trying to find some articles for today. Hung out with Shake and Bacon, that's in the comment section, and Les Bones last night with some more Honey, I Shrunk the Kids video gaming, which was a lot of fun. We went and explored and found new places and found new bugs and all kinds of really cool, fun stuff last night, huh, Miss Lady? Yeah. It was a lot of fun last night. I love that game so much. It's so much fun. Like, it's super addicting, and I constantly think about it because there's always things to do next. So it's like, oh, I wonder, like, in my head, I'm always like, well, what if I do this and this and this? And then, what happens? So I've got to go in the game and at least try it out. And then I watch videos and I'm like, okay, I got to go to this area. So it was really, really fun. Good morning, Shane. Dang, you've been working since 7:30 a.m. Good job. Get that work done. That's what I'm talking about. I know. Yeah, we didn't even die. That was awesome. I think that's the biggest like fear we had last night because we knew if it was a dangerous area and we were going to die, we had to come back and get our backpacks in that same area. So we were absolutely terrified of dying. But we made it. We made it. We made it all the way to the sandbox. We killed some monsters, well, some bugs, some really big bugs that were really brutal. And then some more started coming out, and so we started running and taking off. It was a lot of fun. We ended up going to some really cool places. So hopefully next we'll go to some other ones because there's some really cool other places. We just got to figure out how the fuck to get to some places because some places are really hard. I how there's like in the area in the game there's because it's a backyard. You know, you're like this big and there's a whole backyard beside you, and in the backyard there's a sandbox, and so like a little sandbox that kids play in, but since you're so little you got to figure out how to get up there. And so you can build like staircases with like the grass and stuff that's all over the ground and stuff. You just gotta gather all the materials and then build it up. And we built up this like the jankiest staircase I've ever seen in my life, but we ended up building it all the way up. We were like building upstairs, and then we had to go around this juice box and then keep building up, and like certain spots wouldn't support the staircase going up because it was like in the middle of the air, so we had to go up to the next spot and then keep going up. Jankiest staircase I've ever seen, but hell yeah, we have ladders and stairs to the sandbox if we ever want to get back over there again. It's so much fun. It was such a blast making staircases up to a damn sandbox, and then come to find out that we didn't even like go into the sandbox because there's like some kind of sand bugs in there that are huge and they're really brutal. Like they are mean little fuckers, and they're just all over in the sand. Like if you ever seen what's that movie where those like sand monsters come out and attack you and kill you and stuff? That's how that part is in that area. It's nuts. And there's also an area, you did, you screamed a little bit. There's also a really cool area in there that I didn't even know was in the game, was like the barbecue. So there's a barbecue with like charcoal in it, and apparently it tipped over and it's laying there. And so there's all this like hot charcoal and stuff. And so you go up there and it kind of looks like snow because it's all white. But you get up in there and it's like there's like hot springs, and then there's like these bugs that live in there too that really like the heat, and they're sizzling and they can burn you. Oh, there's just so much new stuff that we're finding out on that game, and it's so much fun. Yeah, like Tremors, exactly. Yeah, those sandbox things reminded me of the Tremors. I was like, no. I don't even like that movie. Like, there's just no way I want to even like go in there, because once you go in that sandbox, you hear them like and they're all underground. My cat just did. Wow. Just wow. That's really, really nice of you, kitty. I appreciate it. Now my house looks like a disaster. Oh my God. Welcome to my life. If I'm not just like trying to find time for myself, I'm literally taking care of animals. Well, as you guys can see, I got my blue tarp back up, which is exciting, but it's super bright out there. Good morning, Amber. Good to see you. Good morning, Lana. Good to see you. Yeah, exactly. Cat alert. Well, welcome to my life. This is what it is. And then I tell Miss Lady, I'm like, no, you can't sit on my lap today, but she's still up here because she's mama's little princess. I'll go and fix it later once I get a show or a video starting or something. I don't even care. I ran out of clean cups this morning, so I'm reusing my Jack in the Box cup from last night for my coffee today. I am a fucking mess. I told you, I need to go back to bed. There's something wrong today. Oh yeah, no, my house is fine. It's just, my cat's still playing with the fucking curtains right now. I love them. Remember? You love them, Jimmy. You love them. You love them. Exactly. Cat's about to have 8 lives. I know. Yeah, he just started his life, so he's like barely 6 months old. He's already about to lose one of them. Kid's going through them pretty fast already. He's about to go through them pretty fast. He's crazy. I absolutely love him though. He's wild. Other than that, like I said, I just watched some more crime stuff last night. Some of those, like the I Dated a Psychopath shows, are absolutely nuts. Like some things you just, like seeing these poor girls having to, be in these relationships where, or these guys too, were being in the relationship where they really like this other person and come to find out like they're this, these crazy psychos. It's nuts. It was a really interesting show. I watched one lady where she looked like she just needed a relationship. Poor little old lady. She just wanted a boyfriend. And she met him, and he seemed really cool. And then he, like, on the third date, he went crazy on her and started going through her purse for no reason, saying that she was like talking to people online and stuff in front of her friends. And her friend was like, nah, you got to get rid of him. Like, this is too much. This is like on the third date. He's already acting like this. And she's like, yeah, you're right. So he took her home, and she's like, look, this isn't going to work out. Can't do it, blah, blah, blah. And so he's like, fine, you're right. And he leaves the car, or she leaves the car, and he leaves. And she never hears from him again until like 3 months later. And all of a sudden, like one night she was hanging out with her friends and went home and got out of her car and was like talking on her cell phone and had the keys in her other hand and was walking up to her driveway. And he just came up and attacked her, like stabbed her like 15 times and stomped on her head and almost killed her and shit. All because of that. 3 fucking dates. That's it. And he fucking went off and murdered her. It was absolutely insane, this poor girl. So, and she didn't even know who attacked her or anything. Come to find out, the guy went on the run and had killed another ex-girlfriend around the same time and stole her car. So the cops were looking for the stolen car and found him in the car. And when they asked him about that murder, he's like, well, if you want to know too, I also did this to this girl. And then that's how they found out that he was the one that attacked her, because she had no clue who it was. She was just walking up her driveway. That shit was nuts, like absolutely nuts. I love those true crime stuff, scary stuff. Hey, I'm always up for different ones. Today I went back to my brother's. I don't even know why. I think I accidentally chose that one because I have my brother's and then yours right under it. And I think I accidentally clicked it because I didn't even realize that I clicked the wrong one until the song started and I hit live and I was like, oh wait, this is not the right song. But it was too late already. So I'm always up for having different ones. If you want, I still have to pay you for the first one though. So wait before I pay you for that first one. Hi. Okay, Holly, I already said hi to you. Ooh, writing. Writing would be fun. I hate writing. I like super respect anybody that writes because I hate it so much. Like I love it, but I hate it at the same time. I guess it's like a love-hate relationship with writing. So there, I did about 20 minutes of talking. I guess I could get started on the show now. Let me see if I can start. We can start with in Istanbul. No, I can't show that one because that one is going to get us in trouble. YouTube decided to block that one that I had up for it. That's crazy. Oh, probably because it actually shows the video, which would suck. We could probably watch that. The Al Jazeera one? Yeah, we could watch the Al Jazeera one. So in Istanbul, I wanted to watch the other one because in the other one, it was saying there was this blast that happened in Istanbul. At the beginning, they were saying it was like Al-Qaeda terrorists, but then later on, they were saying that it was politically motivated. So like they're even coming up with like accusations without even realizing or knowing who did it. So I think if we watch this one, it might be a little bit sooner or more, sooner release date, like as of now. So maybe get a little bit more information than just watching the video and stuff. Hey, Burton. Psst. Burton. Why? Why do you have to play? He always plays with things he's not allowed to. Okay. So yeah, this is like a more recent video. So hopefully we can see at least more recent information on what's going or what happened with the Istanbul blast. So, speaking of Istanbul, a friend of mine was placed in Facebook jail for speaking negatively of Turkish president. Oh, wow. So are they doing, oh, you know what though? It's Facebook. Everybody's being put in Facebook jail. Like even, because I made that, so for INN News, you guys go check out, Indy over at INN News. He has like this 1 minute clip where like everybody's like Indy a bunch of times. And he sent it to me saying that Facebook was saying that it's copyrighted. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, it should not be copyrighted, because he plays the video on YouTube all the time too. And I'm just like, it can't be copyrighted, but it's animatron. They've been doing me janky with copyrighted music, but you can play the video or the song up on YouTube, no problem whatsoever, has no problem. But you put it on Facebook and they're like, it's owned by this one company with this, and this, and it's called like Arabian Sands or something. And so I Google it and it was like Arabian Sands is an audiobook. I was like, why is this song owned by an audiobook? It didn't make any sense. So I'm still trying to figure it out. I'm probably just going to switch up the song and change the song for him, because Facebook is really, really weird about all that stuff. They do that all the time. Yeah. Okay, so let's see what happened in Turkey with the blast.
Bulletin from Turkey, where an explosion has hit the country's most populous city, Istanbul. It happened in one of its most popular tourist spots, Istiklal Street. Turkey's President Recep Tayyip Erdogan says 6 people are dead and 53 injured. Let's give you an idea of where the blast happened. Istiklal Street is a thoroughfare that's lined with shops and restaurants and popular with tourists and locals. The street is also famous for its heritage tram system. Turkey's President Recep Tayyip Erdogan had this update just a short time ago.
It would be wrong to say this is undoubtedly a terrorist attack, but the initial developments and initial intelligence from my governor is that it smells like terrorism. Initial findings show among people fleeing, a woman has played a role in this.
Sinem Kosioglu joins us from Istanbul, near where the explosion occurred.
Yeah, apparently it was a woman that had done this, which is wild to see a woman getting involved in this kind of stuff.
So can you just give us an update on what's happening there now and what more you've been able to find out about potential suspects that you were talking to us about earlier?
Well, we are nearly 320 meters far from the explosion site, which is right behind us. We are standing, as press, we are standing in a line by Taksim Square. No one is allowed inside the pedestrian Istiklal Street, as the crime scene investigation teams are still working in the area, trying to collect more evidence about the incident. And we just heard from the officials a couple of minutes ago that Turkish Justice Minister Bekir Bozdağ is at the explosion site right now, listening from the crime scene teams about what happened, how it happened, and the other details. According to the Justice Ministry, a wide-scale investigation has been launched, and 8 prosecutors have been appointed to figure out to conduct this wide-scale investigation. As Turkish President pointed out, and as security officials have been telling us so far, it looks like a terrorist attack mainly perpetrated by the outlawed Kurdistan Workers' Party, the PKK, the art group that the Turkish army, Turkish government has been giving a fight against for the last 30 years. And during these fights, nearly 40,000 Turkish citizens have lost their lives in this fight so far. So let me explain about the suspects. As Turkish president pointed out, they have identified a female suspect, and there are 2 more suspects, 2 male suspects that the police is chasing after. So far, they haven't been able to be caught, but the police has the full identity of those suspects with their names, with their address, and their ages and their occupation. And according to a picture that I was shown by some security pictures, the female suspect who dropped a bag of explosive on the side was wearing a headscarf, a black headscarf, like an ISIL woman, and a camouflage trousers at the bottom. So that was a bit a confusing picture, as the security officers suspect that she was trying to hide her identity and blend in the society, as there are so many tourists around, and mainly Arab tourists around this Istiklal Street. And one thing that I have learned from the security sources is that this female suspect involved in this explosion is a daughter of a Kurdish man who was lost during 1990s, when the Turkish deep state was involved, was actually perpetrating some organizations against the Kurds, who politicized Kurds in Turkey's southeastern region, that we call cold case units, where you don't know whether these people have died or whether these people have been killed by some counter-terror officers nested within the Turkish state. So this is what I have learned about the female suspect, as she has lost her father during these counter-terrorism operations in the 1990s. And the area where I'm standing is fully sealed right now. No one is allowed inside.
Isn't this, I mean, obviously it's a different fight and it's through like Kurdish Contra terrorists, but this is the kind of stuff that we see a lot, like in a lot of stuff that we think too, especially during the mid 2000s. A lot of us that were a little bit younger, we would, at least I would think at that time, both or back in those times, you know, you have like all these grown-ups and, you know, your parents and everything like that, families in these wars and, you know, these battles, and they lose their families in this. And it just, it doesn't, like, you think, you know, like when America's imperialism that, you know, coups other countries and stuff, that it's just we're gonna, you know, kill the bad guy and that's gonna be the end of it. But like, we never think about, or at least they never think about the fact that, you know, we kill that guy, but the family members, you know, the kids have to grow up without that dad. And it's like these kids are going to forever hate us and could, you know, and then like wait 10 to 15 years and you've got an entire generation of kids in a country that hates a certain type of person. And that's even worse than what you had, you know, with just that one person before. So at least that's what it feels to me right now with this situation, is like this woman, you know, is like doing, I'm always trying to think of the word, like not a villain, but kind of like a Batman type thing where like, you know, you hurt my family, so I'm going to have revenge on all of you kind of thing. That's just what it feels like to me, at least. So good to see you, Nikki. Thanks for stopping by.
And the police is checking out CCTV pictures and other details in the area. But it's a busy day, as it's Sunday, and still there are so many people around, local and foreign tourists around, trying to enjoy the area. But everybody is curious about what's happening here, and we are waiting for some extra information to hear from the prosecutors and from the security officials about the incident that killed six citizens in today's incident.
Okay, Sinem Kosioglu, thank you so much for that update.
That's pretty interesting. Oh no, Nikki, you're not late. You're totally good. It's like I think I really just started looking or watching stuff like 10 minutes ago. So yeah, no problem. Shake and bacon. Have a good day. Cape Socialist, good to see you. Let me see if I can find another one on this that's just as recent. And then you're going to put people also watched, of course. See, like Turkey blames Istanbul blast on Kurdish militants. Okay. Attacker came into city months ago, police are saying. Let's see.
Turkish police released a video of a female suspect being arrested on Monday after a blast in Istanbul's main shopping street killed at least 6 people. And the government blamed Kurdish militants for the explosion. Istanbul police said on Monday it had arrested 47 people in relation to the attack, including Syrian woman Alam al-Bashir, who is believed to have planted the bomb. Police said that in initial questioning, the woman said she was trained by Kurdish militants in Syria and entered Turkey through northwest Syria's Afrin region. Interior Minister Süleyman Soylu said the Kurdistan Workers' Party, also known as the PKK, and the Syrian Kurdish YPG militia were responsible for the attack on the historic and bustling Istiklal Avenue on Sunday. Soylu said the order for the attack was given in Kobani, a city in northern Syria. Turkish forces have carried out operations there against YPG in recent years. 6 Turkish citizens, 2 members each of 3 families, were killed in the attack, and dozens wounded. In a statement on its website on Monday, the PKK denied involvement in the attack, saying it did not target civilians. Earlier television news reports showed images of a person who appeared to be a woman leaving a package below a raised flower bed in the middle of the busy street. On Monday, shopkeepers like Lokman Kalkan began their cleanup.
It has been a disaster, you see. This is all that happened. People were fighting for their lives. There is nothing we can do.
Ankara says the YPG, which Washington has supported in the conflict in Syria, is a wing of the PKK. The PKK has led an insurgency against the Turkish state since 1984, and more than 40,000 people have been killed in clashes. It is considered a terrorist organization by Turkey, the European Union, and the United States. Turkish authorities link support for the YPG by Washington and others to the blast. Soylu likened the US condolences to the murderer arriving as one of the first at the scene of the crime.
We reject the condolences of the American embassy. We do not accept it. Our alliance with a state that sends money from its own Senate to these groups, feeding the terror zones in Kobani, which aims to disturb Turkey's peace, is a controversial situation. This is open and clear.
Istanbul has been targeted in the past.
They don't want anything from Americans. That is wild. I mean, obviously it's not, but I mean, I want to listen to that again.
It's open and clear.
Istanbul
Situation. This is open and clear.
Istanbul has been targeted.
I guess the universe just said, no, Jimmy, you don't get to watch this.
We reject the condolences of the American embassy. We do not accept it. Our alliance with a state that sends money from its own Senate to these groups, feeding the terror zones in Kobani, which aims to disturb Turkey's peace, is a controversial situation. This is open and clear.
Okay.
Istanbul has been
So
targeted in
the
the past by
probably reason
Kurdish
why we don't see
Islamists
it on the
and
mainstream
leftist
news on
militants.
our side over here is
Sunday's
because
attack
we are
sparked
funding
concerns that
who
Turkey
they
could
consider
be
as the
hit with more
terrorist in their
incidents ahead
country.
of
So
tense elections.
that makes sense. I guess CBS Evening News did it. NBC did it. But they're not talking about, they're making like, it looks like they might be separating themselves from the killer itself, from the murderer, which seems very American to do. What's another one? I saw one a minute ago. It was really good. Police arrest 46 people.
Police in Turkey have arrested 46 people in connection with Sunday's bombing in Istanbul. The explosion killed 6 people and injured dozens more. It happened on Istiklal Street, the city's bustling shopping area, which is popular with locals and tourists. Police say the woman who planted the bomb is Syrian and has links with the PKK, a Kurdish separatist group that's outlawed by Turkey. The group has denied it was behind the attack. Sinem Koseoglu is in Istanbul. Sinem, we're almost 24 hours exactly now after the explosion occurred. Bring us up to speed on where the investigation stands.
Well, Cyril, the investigation is still underway with 8 public prosecutors appointed to have a wide-scale investigation. But so far, Turkish authorities have stated that the Syrian national woman, who is named to be the main perpetrator of the bomb attack of yesterday, arrived to Turkey from northwestern Syria, Afrin. And according to reports and according to the police statements, she has admitted that she was trained in the YPG camps in Syria, and she was actually appointed to explode this bomb through those people. Some reports suggest that she arrived in Turkey illegally from Afrin 4 months ago with some other collaborators, but we need to confirm these reports, of course. But as per the Interior Minister of Turkey, the order of the attack was given from Ain al-Arab, in other words, Kobane, where the Syrian Kurds are the major administrators of the area. That's why the Turkish officials since yesterday point out to the links with the PKK and its Syrian offshoot YPG. Besides the PKK,
I think he's working, or he might be sleeping.
Syrian Democratic Forces General Commander Muslim Abdi also denied any links to the bomb attack. But what is interesting is when PKK perpetrates such an attack, they usually claim it within 24 hours or 48 hours. Both sides of the PKK have denied so far. And as some of the international news agencies report, senior Turkish officials have told the perpetrator is trained by the PKK, but they are not they are not ignoring a possibility of ISIL involvement. There are too many details to be discussed and too many questions to be answered as this woman entered Turkey illegally, despite the borders closed. So the investigation is still underway, and probably we will hear more information and more details about some sleeping cells of these outlawed groups in Turkey.
All right, we're just 24 hours into this for now. So, of course, we're going to get more information as the time goes by.
Yeah, it really is really starting to feel more and more like this woman is just like paying back for the murder of her own father in the past, which a lot of kids who are becoming of age now are going to be so pissed off about what the American God, I'm so tired and blanking out on the words today. What? Like cooing other countries? He's staring at me. What's up? What's up? Good morning. Oh, what is it? So like American imperialism, them wanting to like take over other countries and killing people in the past. Now these kids are all growing up and making their own decisions and wanting to get back at what other countries are doing to their families. So I always knew that something like this is probably going to eventually happen. This is only just my guesstimate of why probably her motive. It seems like the most logical motive out of all of them. So I don't know. We'll see. I know. I'm trying not to. I'm really trying not to. But yeah, I don't know why I feel like I have to. It's weird. Okay. We'll just go on to the next one, which is Mr. Bezos deciding he wants to give away all of his money, but I think it's a fucking scam. So here is the interview.
With our very own Chloe Malas. In a wide-ranging interview, Amazon's founder, Jeff Bezos, is opening up about politics, philanthropy, and the economy. He and his partner, Lauren Sanchez, also tell CNN they're writing a $100 million check to the legendary country singer Dolly Parton to help her advance her own charity work. Watch.
Talk to me about choosing Dolly Parton.
Well, look at what she's done and how she's led her life and the way she's done it. These bold things, always with civility and kindness. She's a unifier. You know, we have big problems in the world, and the way to get big problems done is you have to work together. We have too many examples in the world of conflict and people
right?
ad hominem
Exactly.
attacks on social media
like,
and so on.
You know that
you won't find Dolly Parton doing that.
It's his
and when
wife.
You think of Dolly, look, everyone smiles,
like, look at her face,
right? And all she wants to do,
you know, it's his girlfriend that's like, oh yeah, we got to hook up Dolly Parton. Jeff Bezos is probably like, who the fuck is Dolly Parton? And so she had to sit there and tell him who Dolly Parton is. You have to work 3 to 9 today. Ooh, have fun. That sucks. Oh yeah, for sure. Lots of that, Yona. Definitely. You could see it in her lips, her nose, her cheeks, all of it. Yeah. For sure.
Is bring light into other people's world. That's all. And so we couldn't have thought of someone better than to give this award to Dolly.
The nation is very divided right now on many issues.
And it's not like $100 million is a majority of his money. Come on now.
Attainable right now.
$100 million is like barely anything to a
I think the American
multi-billionaire.
dream is and will be even more attainable in the future. Look, one of the things that I don't like about the current environment is that I think there's a lot of division. I think that people use conflict as a tool to achieve their own ends. I don't think it's a good tool. We see sometimes in our political sphere, certain politicians criticize other politicians. They criticize their motives, their character. They call them names. Once you've done that, it's hard to work with somebody. And that's why we created the Courage and Civility Award, because we want to highlight people who don't do that.
And we wanted to amplify their voices. You know, because the voices that are really negative seem to get amplified.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't even
when
think
you
about that point. Like, you're giving $100 million to Dolly Parton, who probably has enough money to where she doesn't have to worry about anything for the rest of her life with all this music she made back in the 70s and 80s. So yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Your net worth. It's too much money to even spend in a lifetime. Do you plan to give away the majority of your wealth in your lifetime?
Yeah, I do. And the hard part is figuring out how to do it in a levered way. It's not easy. You know, building Amazon was not easy. It took a lot of hard work, a bunch of very smart teammates. And I'm finding, and I think Lauren's finding the same thing, that philanthropy is very similar. It's not easy. It's really hard. And there are a bunch of ways that I think that you could do ineffective things too. So we're building the capacity to be able to give away this money.
How do you decide where to put your efforts?
There are so many places where, you know, philanthropists and anybody who wants to donate to charity can put their money to work. I feel like you have to do things at 2 time scales. You have to work on the urgent, the here and now, the immediate, and you have to work on the long term. So the Bezos Earth Fund is sort of about this. It's a 10-year commitment to work on these really big problems that we have on sustainability and conservation and restoration. The Day One Fund, where we do work on the here and now, the urgent food security, homelessness, transient homelessness. There's all kinds of very important problems in that arena too.
Talk to me about this team that you two have built together.
That's a good word. We're really great teammates, and we also have a lot of fun together, and we love each other.
True.
So I love how we work together. We always look at each other and like, we're the team.
It's easy, you know. We bring each other energy. We respect each other. So it's fun to work together.
Let's bring in our own Chloe Malas, who sat down with the two of them. It's just
wild, right?
So
okay, then they start talking about him a little bit more. Then here he is again.
In one?
Yeah, exactly. Shit team. Try paying taxes instead,
we
right?
are in some tough economic times.
Yeah.
Some people say that perhaps we're already in a recession. Do you think that we're in one? And what is your advice for small business owners?
I don't know whether we're technically in a recession. I know economists argue over that, and they have certain technical definitions. What I can tell you is the economy does not look great right now. Things are slowing down. You're seeing layoffs in many, many sectors of the economy. People are slowing down. the probabilities say if we're not in a recession right now, we're likely to be in one very soon. So my advice to people, whether they're small business owners or, is take some risk off the table. If you were going to make a purchase, maybe slow down that purchase a little bit. Keep some dry powder on hand, and wait.
What is that supposed to mean? Keep some dry powder on hand? Is he talking about drugs? Does he do drugs? Sounds like drugs. Batten down the hatches. Jesus Christ.
Try to reduce some risk in your business or your life.
Well, you tweeted batten down the hatches. That's what you mean by that?
That's what I mean. If you're an individual and you're
right, that's
about
what
buying
pisses me off about this whole thing. Yeah, exactly, Yona. He's giving away $100 million and telling rich people to stop buying stuff, but they're laying off like 10,000 plus workers. Exactly. I'm going to talk about that next after this. It's wild.
Large screen TV, maybe slow that down, keep that cash, see what happens. Same thing with a refrigerator or a new car or whatever. Just take some risk off the table. If you're a small business, maybe delay some capital purchases. Do you really need that new piece of equipment? Maybe it can wait a little bit. Have some cash on hand. Just a little bit of risk reduction could make the difference for that small business if we do get into even more serious economic problems. So you got to play the probabilities a little bit.
Any idea in terms of what you're hearing or just with your expertise?
Wow. He's telling people, regular small business owners, to play the austerity game so we can get through this, when this coming recession isn't even our fucking fault. It's seriously the government's and the greedy corporate owners' faults and the hedge fund managers. This is disgusting how he even talks like this. Right? Rich people talk. I don't give a fuck. Okay, absolutely, go for it. You are more than welcome to.
How long this recession could last?
I don't think even the most experienced economists in the world can answer that question. It's a very challenging thing to try and estimate. So I think you just have to try and be reasonable about it, take as much risk off the table as you can for yourself. Hope for the best, but prepare for the worst.
So you heard Jeff Bezos right there say that if you're looking to make some big purchases, to maybe think twice about it for right now, to keep some powder on hand, he was saying. And then, we're in the midst of a tech recession with all of these layoffs in the industry, and it's a really uncertain time. And, we also
but regular people can't afford to live in austerity anymore. I don't understand what Jeff Bezos doesn't see, but we've been living in austerity for fucking ever, and it's seriously on my last nerves. I don't understand what else he expects us to do. Now, in that video, I do believe, hold on.
Other things, like I said, in space and what it looks like on their Saturday night and how they fight over what movies to watch. And so later in the day, we'll show you some more.
What's interesting, and you were talking about, sort of the buzz around him. See, I saw him and Lauren at the Portrait Gallery unveiling with Clive Davis. So you have all of these people in the room. He's at the top of the celebrity CEOs, not that he's a founder. But who was in the room? Marianne Edelman-Wright, Jose Andres, Venus and Serena Williams, Hillary Clinton.
Goes without saying, it is so hard.
No, there was a part on here where they were talking about
the fact that you're the one they chose to sit down with
money
to.
Thank you. Well, look, it's the first time that we've heard from them together in
exactly.
4
He
years.
doesn't live in austerity. He doesn't have a clue what austerity is, but expects all of us to do it. Like to him is like, just don't buy the new car, don't buy the new yacht, you guys, and then telling the small business to not make a purchase to lower risk. But that doesn't even, you can't expect people to live even more in austerity when that's what we've been doing. We've been doing that since 2008. And then we had to do it again since we've been trying to build up from 2008. And then the pandemic happened and we're all back dropped down to below 2008 levels again. Like, how do you expect us to even give into even more austerity? Like, how much more backed into a corner are you going to put us until we start swinging? Because I don't know if I can handle any more of that bullshit.
He doesn't really give sit-down interviews, and it was all pegged to obviously giving Dolly Parton this $100 million grant Friday night at a private event at his home. He's previously given one to our own CNN Van Jones, Jose Andres. But we did talk about potentially buying the NFL Commanders, the Washington Commanders. And we did talk about
there goes Bezos telling everybody to not buy things and to live in austerity, but he's out there buying a fucking football team right now. How fucking gross is that?
Wanting to go to space with an all-female crew. So this was a very wide-ranging
And
interview
going
at their
into
home in
outer
DC
space.
that
He ain't
lasted
making
over
no
20
low.
minutes.
He's not lowering his
of
risk.
course, he's one of the
He's still out there
wealthiest
doing it.
men, one of
Like
the most
$100
powerful
million
men in the
isn't
world.
isn't shit.
Because
Like,
of course, what he
don't seem
has
like
built at
something you
Amazon
think
and
for
other
$100
entities.
million.
He has
It
been
ain't shit
fretting
for
about
what
the
he's doing and
economy. He
spending
has been
still.
speaking out. He's clashed through the White House on what he believes are the real issues. What did he say to you about where things stand in his view? Well, look, he recently tweeted, "Batten down the hatches." So I wanted to know, what is your take
I am
on the
so
recession? Are
fucking
we
jealous. Just give me
in one?
like
Take a listen.
a 0.0001% of that, and I won't be jealous anymore.
Listen to what he had to say.
Okay, so that's that one. And then I also, so like you were saying, Yona, they're fucking laying off employees now. Like, here's this.
Budgets amid high inflation and the slowing
Is to lay off some 10,000 workers starting as soon as this week. According to the New York Times, it's the largest round of layoffs in the company's history. Business reporter Alexis Christoforous joins me live now for more on this. Alexis, why are they doing this?
Well, a lot of tech companies are doing it. Unfortunately,
Exactly,
Amazon
Nikki.
is just the latest one. Of
There's
course,
no
this
way
comes
he's
on the heels
working
of
at a
similar
law.
belt
No
tightening
way.
at Facebook parent Meta, which laid off 11,000 workers just last week. Twitter,
I
which sliced
can only see the fact that him working at a loss as of right now, because the people that spent the last 2 years shopping on Amazon because they were all stuck home are now spending their money on going places. So yeah, I'm not seeing him as a loss, but I'm seeing his profit is going down from where it used to be for the last 2 years. So now he's going to lay it off. He's not losing money. He's just not making as much as he was during the pandemic.
its workforce.
What's up, pimp? Good morning, you Warren. Jeez. I'm sorry. I'm tired today. I don't feel like talking.
In half after Elon Musk's takeover and job cut announcements at Lyft, Stripe, and other tech companies. Now, a lot of these tech companies, of course, rely on
There you go,
advertising.
Meta. Yeah. Even Zucker Boy is getting rid of 11,000 employees as well. Looks like Elon is getting rid of half of its 7,500 employees, and Lyft is getting rid of 700 employees as well.
For a huge portion of their revenue, but a
Which
growing
the
number
Lyft one doesn't make any sense to me. Like, the Lyft is independent contractor, right? So like, you don't make money unless you're doing something like a job. Like, Lyft is taking somebody, transporting somebody back and forth somewhere. So as an independent contractor, I don't understand how Lyft itself is losing money, because the people are using their own vehicles, using their own gas. They're making money. Like, there's nothing that needs to be going to these workers from Lyft, because I thought they were independent contractors. I mean, what do you got to do? Send them a sticker, get them on the app, and that's about it. So yeah. Okay. That's what I'm thinking. Maybe like their tech people is like the app working and all of that. So that might be it. Yeah. It's just the whole like getting rid of the drivers would seem to be dumb if they did that, because those people are the ones that are making the company money.
of those companies are shrinking their ad budgets amid high inflation and the slowing economy. Also, a lot of tech companies went on a hiring spree during the pandemic. Amazon alone hired about 800,000 people over the last couple of years to meet the surge in demand from online shoppers as we all spent more time at home. But of course, as the economy reopened and consumer prices soared, people shifted their time and money away from buying stuff and instead to things like going out and travel. And now these tech companies are trying to adjust their payrolls in order to get back to those pre-pandemic levels.
Now, I know demand may be going down overall because, again, we're kind of coming out of the pandemic, but holiday season's coming up. Right. Online shopping ramps up during that time. So what is that going to mean for that? Will there be an impact?
We're not expecting there to be. The holidays are so important to these companies. For Amazon, they make up most of their revenue during the holidays. You have to believe that they feel confident that they can let these workers go and still be able to meet demand during what they now believe to be a less busy holiday season than they have seen over the past couple of years.
Does this offer any insight into sort of the bigger picture on the jobs market? Are we seeing that weakening? What does this mean for potential recession? Are there tea leaves here?
Right. Those are the questions, and economists are also asking the same questions. Overall, tech companies make up just 2% of the employment picture in this country. So not as big as you might expect. But what starts to happen is there's sort of this contagion. Other companies might start tightening their belt. And also, consumers, even if they have jobs, may start to feel fearful about their jobs and maybe not go out and buy the car and not go out and do a big holiday spend because
Yeah, you're
they want.
also right as well, Lana. Yeah, the when the Fed hikes interest rates, unemployment follows as well. So, yep, job guarantee.
To be more budget conscious, but many people are saying this could become a self-fulfilling prophecy, and we could still see a recession, a mild one, at some point next year.
What are you
It
watching
is. It is becoming a self-fulfilling prophecy because of even what, like, part of what just Lana said, the Fed's hikes the interest rates, and now these companies are taking away employment. So let's watch that part again. Hold on.
More budget conscious, but many people are saying this could become a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah,
and we
yeah,
could
that's
still
what it
see
was, the self-fulfilling prophecy. So yeah, they absolutely are doing it as a self-fulfilling prophecy because they're doing it themselves. What a definition of a self-fulfilling prophecy is literally like a prophecy that you make happen yourself. Like, it's not something that just the universe kind of creates. You're like, oh my God, it's a prophecy. It actually came true. It's like, this is going to happen. And then they start causing it to happen. And that's exactly what they're doing. So yeah, we already are practically, we haven't even really gotten out of the recession, barely, from 2008, 2009. So we're even going like more into a depression, even just in the 2022 new age technologically advanced way.
A recession, a mild one, at some point next year.
What are you watching for as indicators of whether that is or isn't happening?
Inflation. We keep talking about it. We're going to get new inflation numbers next month. The Fed meets again next month. We're going to see if they start to pull back on those interest rate increases. And once we really get a feel like inflation is indeed trending lower, maybe companies will also feel better about it and not want to lay off workers.
All right, Alexis Christophers, great to have you. Thank you.
Thanks.
Hi, everyone. George
Great
Stephanopoulos
to
here.
have you. Thanks. And then then there was like another article that I saw, and it said, so this is from the Hindu. Amazon plans to lay off 10,000 employees starting this week. Citing people with knowledge of the matter, job cuts will focus on the e-commerce giants devices unit, which house voice assistant Alexa, as well as its retail division and human resources, according to the report. So it's focusing on retail and human resources, which also said the total number of layoffs remain fluid. Yeah, right. It's a depression. Exactly. The company did not immediately respond. As of December 31st, Amazon had more than 1.6 million full-time and part-time employees and had recently said it would freeze hiring to corporate workforce for the next few months. The news just comes weeks after Amazon warned of a slowdown in growth. So we just watched that. It's the latest U.S. company to make deep cuts into its employee base to brace for a potential economic downturn. Last week, Facebook parent Meta platform said it would cut more than 11,000 jobs. Let's open up that and see what that says. Lays off 13% of its employees. In a blog post, it said that company also shared that it will be extending the hiring freeze through Q1. Meta and its advertisers are bracing for a potential recession. There's also, which, like you guys are saying, we're already there. There's also the challenge of Apple's privacy tools, which make it more difficult for social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, and Snap to track people without their consent and target ads to them. So it looks like lots of companies are making some crazy ass changes, or just making some changes, it seems like. So that's, yeah. So Amazon's laying off 10,000 people while also offering $100 million to Dolly Parton at his house in a private party. Also telling people not to go and buy things, to start living in austerity, lowering your risk and stuff to us regular people, while he's out there making sure that, he's got an all-female trip to space and that he can buy a football team. So he needs to shut his fucking mouth is what he needs to do. My employers has laid off 3 times this year. Jeez. See, that's too much. Okay, so the next one is the FTX collapse with the crypto. They're calling, okay, so with SBF, the one that I found that was really good on this topic. Yeah, exactly. And he buys yachts. Exactly. Well, that's what even Nikki was saying too. He's got like a yacht within a yacht. So, which he does. Didn't his yacht end up getting stuck at like a bridge somewhere in another country? And the people were like, or he asked the actual area if they would like take down the bridge so that his yacht could go through. And they were like, no, sorry, you're just stuck there. And so that yacht was stuck there and it couldn't even go through. Idiot. But he tells us to live in austerity, but he can try to talk an entire area to take down their working bridge so he can put his yacht through. Like, come on, Bezos. Was it in the Netherlands? Okay, yeah. I knew it was somewhere. I just don't remember where. But yeah, that shit was hilarious. I was like, this fool actually really thinks that he's going to get away with it. He really thought that he could get a town to move the bridge so he could put his yacht through. So this week, there was a cryptocurrency called FTX. It completely collapsed. I have a video on it from Breaking Points because I think Sager really did a good job on talking about it. He's calling it the Lehman moment with this man named SBF. And so I figured we could watch this because, like I said, I don't really care for Crystal Ball, but sometimes he's got some, at least Sager's got some interesting things to say, even though he's nerdy as shit.
Well, as many here know, I've been interested in Bitcoin and its promise here for many years. When I first got into it, the promise of it really didn't have anything to do with making money. It was about censorship-free resistant money, about the verifiability of the blockchain, tales of circumventing government sanctions or hyperinflation. Somewhere along the way, though, it reached escape velocity in price, and then it actually became simple.
See, I've known about cryptocurrency since about 2012, 2013, when some of my friends were getting in on it. And then at that point, it was about making money. It was about using it as a commodity in the stock market to be able to make some more extra money. There were, hints of like, not using the American dollar and this being like a second source of value of like money back in the day. And then also with the blockchain, I have heard about, like you could tell where everything is going. There's super transparency because of this blockchain and stuff. But it all in all, it was always, to me, at least from what I heard from my friends in my own anecdotal experience, it was about making money. It was about getting rich in the stock market with this cryptocurrency.
It was all just about getting rich. When people began to not just get rich, but get filthy rich, that's when institutional capital, Wall Street, and the two-bit players that we're about to mention became the real people in the driver's seat behind crypto. It became instead of—
I don't know anything about this cold wallet. Usually have to have like a wallet app for crypto. If you ever okay, so think of just cryptocurrency as just another form of, well, at least what they wanted it to be is another form of money. So to where eventually they could tax it, but at that point it wasn't taxable. But now if you look at cryptocurrency, all it is a commodity in all. If you think about it. So when let's say Bitcoin goes into the stock market, and people, the prices of it are going up and going down, and people are investing and divesting in stock market. They're still investing and divesting in this cryptocurrency with US dollars. So, no matter if this Bitcoin, this certain Bitcoin goes up to where it's worth, I don't know, like $50,000 a share, it's still the crypto is still a commodity because it's this Bitcoin is worth $15,000. Okay, there's the words, $15,000 per share. So this crypto coin is worth $15,000 each one. So if anything, it never actually turned out to be any form of usable, approved, minted money that could be used. They tried to do that, but when all of this started coming in, it literally just turned into another stock market commodity, just like everything else is. So that's pretty much what it is. Holly is just another thing to add to the stock market to make money off of. So yeah, exactly. It's exactly. Thank you. Yes, it's exactly like gold, like silver. It's just another investment in those things. Yep. Totally. Yeah, exactly. Totally wanting to circumvent the system, but people who thought it was going to replace the US dollar definitely live in a dream world. They really did too. They really thought that it was going to replace it. Like, you do realize that you need an entire working system government to approve and mint, and then the entire country has to approve it, because there's this whole system involved with the use of money, and we didn't even start off with free floating fiat currency. We started it with backed by gold. Some other countries still back their dollars by gold. Now ours is, backed by the, full faith and full faith of the United States government. But still, there's no way that you could do that with what the money already is. You can't replace something like it. It's just impossible. It would have never actually happened. So you're right. Absolutely right. Goodbye, Yona. Thanks for stopping by.
Promise of a better financial system to one that simply circumvented existing financial regulation on Wall Street to see genuine Wild West speculation on the internet. A reversion to the past rather than a leap to the future. It is in that vein that we have to discuss the stunning and precipitous fall of Sam Bankman-Fried, who in the period of just the last 2 weeks saw his net worth fall from a near $17 billion to zero overnight. So to start with, who is Sam Bankman-Fried? Well, I think it's fair to say he's a pretty weird dude. We've covered him before on the show as a major Democratic donor. He wanted to donate billions of dollars to Democratic Party, to other aligned causes for something that's known as the effective altruism movement. We will save how cringe that discussion is for another day. But of course, the question arises, who is he? How did he make all that money? Bankman-Fried was the CEO of the crypto trading platform FTX, which was based out of the Bahamas. The reason FTX was based in the Bahamas is because its main value proposition was illegal in the United States. FTX enables massive leverage loans and bets on cryptocurrency futures, circumventing the global banking system and serving effectively as a speculative non-US hub of crypto trading. Bankman-Fried's core innovation was essentially building a platform enabling sophisticated types of financial transactions that Wall Street players have had for years, but for crypto, ahead of the boom in asset prices, enabling him to be poised perfectly for the last 2 years. The volume of trades on his platform ballooned over the last several years, surging his net worth into the tens of billions and turning him into some kind of effective altruist. But how does a multi-billion-dollar empire just crumble in just a week? So here's the story. November 2nd, CoinDesk, a crypto news platform, reported on a leaked document that one of Bankman-Fried's hedge funds, which is separate, had a large number of crypto tokens belonging to FTX on its balance sheet. That matters because Bankman-Fried's other firm, Alameda Research, was supposed to be a separate business. But in reality, it showed that one of Bankman-Fried's businesses rested nearly entirely on a coin that was invented by the FTX exchange, not by any real dollars or other assets. This set up the perfect opportunity for a company called Binance, which is an alternative large crypto trading platform, who struck. They announced, based on the news, they would then sell many of the tokens they had held issued by FTX, which effectively triggered a collapse in the price. Now, the fall of the price of that token triggered a separate run. Traders on the actual FTX platform scrambling to withdraw their actual dollars and other assets. That run caused some nearly $6 billion in assets to be withdrawn from FTX in the span of just 72 hours, which of course.
So yeah, I'm gonna read this really quick too. So there's the proof right there that even this cryptocurrency is not actual money. He created a coin. People bought into it and invested in it. He made a buttload of money. People found out, certain people in the areas found out that this coin that was supposed to be worth a lot more was actually made by him. They all wanted to get their money back. And the money was gone. There was nothing there. He already had spent all of it. So this right here says crypto exchange FTX saw around $6 billion of withdrawal in the last 72 hours before Tuesday morning. According to a message to staff sent by its CEO, the SBM guy, Sam Bankman-Fried, that was seen by Reuters. In a surprise move, Zhao, boss of major rival Binance, said on Tuesday the company signed a non-binding agreement to buy FTX's non-US unit, FTX.com, to help cover liquidity crunch. Okay, so he's going to talk about this right now. So as of right now in this story, this guy is like lost out on close to like $6-7 billion because a lot of people divested in his company. And so here, let's watch
triggered a cash crunch, as in FTX did not have enough cash to meet its outstanding obligations. At this point, SBF was screwed. He straight up didn't have the money, and he needed someone to bail him out. So he went to Binance and he begged for a bailout. On November 8th, Binance announced that it would reach a deal.
Begging for bailouts. Do you hear this? These rich people going to their rich friends saying, I'm out of money, help bail me out. This is what they always do. Hearing that reminded me of 2008, how the government bailed out corporations. This is just what these guys do. Like, don't let me lose my happiness of all this money. Please hook it up, friends.
To bail out and buy FTX, but caveated that they had the right to pull the deal at any time of their own choosing. And then the very next day, when we're all dealing with the election results, there was even more stunning news. Binance says, actually, they're pulling out of the deal as a result of, quote, corporate due diligence, and hinted that there were, quote, reports of mishandled funds. That is what set the spark, with an apologetic thread from SBF on Twitter where he said, quote, I fucked up and should have done better, with a pledge that he would be trying to raise some nearly $9 billion to cover the remaining assets within FTX so that his customers could withdraw their funds. But of course, with all the news, and despite previous major Silicon Valley backing, nobody was willing to bail him out this time, which ended in an official Chapter 11 bankruptcy. But now,
so that way he'll never have to really pay those people back. With every person that's rich that files for bankruptcy, usually it just says that they don't make any more money. They don't have to pay anyone back. Everything's set down to zero, and they're good.
Bankruptcy filing. There's even more questions. What happened to all the money? Reuters reports that SBF had transferred some nearly $10 billion of customer funds from FTX to his sister hedge fund, Alameda Research, and that a large portion of that has since disappeared. Anywhere between $1 to $2 billion in cash. SBF's defense of the $10 billion in transfer is he had confusing internal labeling on his cash and, quote, misread it. When asked about the missing money, he simply replied, 3 question marks. Furthermore, FTX's own legal team finds on the back end, SBF had implemented a, quote, backdoor into the bookkeeping system, which allowed him to execute commands altering the company's financial records without alerting other people, including external auditors. That is how he was able to internally transfer billions upon billions to his hedge fund for then speculation without anybody noticing. As for what next, who knows? Cointelegraph reports that SBF is, quote, under supervision by Bahamian authorities and that he is exploring going to Dubai, where there is no extradition treaty with the United States. The crypto industry has lost nearly $1 trillion.
They're like totally just putting this guy, like throwing this guy under the bus and stuff, while, it's like they're making a point out of this man, but while the rest of everybody else that's corrupt as shit in the stock trading and the stock market schemes and scams get away with it all the time. But they're going to make a point of this guy. So yeah, exactly. Corruption is shit. This guy's corrupt as fuck. Like, he literally was able to transfer money into his own personal hedge fund by skirt-tailing the tech to where auditors couldn't even find it. So he was able to pretty much just jip out a whole bunch of money out of all of that and used it probably to spend on himself and whatever else he decided to. But now he's in a lot of trouble and nobody's willing to back him up. So they're wanting to make a show of him, even though they're all the other friends, like the guy that could have bailed him out. They're all probably doing just as janky shit as everyone else. So, and he's also looking to flee to Dubai so he can't get extradited to America. He's fucking crazy. These people, man, like, he's saying it out loud. Why are we not doing anything about this? If he's saying that out loud before he even does it.
Result of XTF collapse, and trust in the industry is at an all-time low, comparable nearly to the Lehman Brothers collapse in the American financial system. I will end this monologue as I began it. When I first got interested in Bitcoin, it was the promise of something other than getting rich. Those that I met in the industry actually had a real passion for that. But just like with our original financial system, once speculation became involved, it became just like the Wall Street banks, but with looser regulation. I'm honestly not sure what the answer is. I know this. My friends who work in the industry have a lot of trust to gain back from the general public, who rightly are looking at this and they say, this sounds crazy. That's where we're at right now, Crystal.
Yep,
I mean,
it does. I can't believe he even got away with this. I mean, I can because I know how corrupt the system is, but why are we not doing this to all the rest of them? Why are we just going after this one guy and not looking into all the rest? You know, there's so much speculation everywhere. It's gross. I seriously don't understand. It reminds you of Bernie Madoff. Interesting. Yeah, it feels like just, it's only one company, but it feels like what happened in 2008, 2009 all over again, but just with this one company. And then also on the Hill this morning, Ro Khanna went on, so I figured we could watch this and talk shit about Ro Khanna. Figure this would be a good one. Welcoming new members, Progressive Caucus vows to double down on the bold agenda. This person, Jake Johnson, said, or in this article, there will now be more progressives in Congress than any other time in modern history. So apparently, like if you go on Facebook, where it's ridiculous right now, you'll see a lot of people on there talking about how they're excited that the squad just got bigger. And so I think this is what he's talking about, how like new progressive members of the caucus and stuff. So there's like a bunch of new members, but I still, they're just the caucus. So I just don't see them really doing much of anything. So let's watch.
The Progressive Caucus welcomed nearly a dozen new members this week after a majority of candidates they endorsed for this year's midterm elections were victorious. Representative Pramila Jayapal, chair of the CPC, said that this will be, quote, the most progressive Democratic caucus in decades, with over 100 members helping the group gain more power to deliver actual change on key issues such as student debt, child tax credit, expanding Medicaid, antitrust reform, and more.
Joining us now to discuss is Congressman from California and member of the Progressive Caucus, Ro Khanna. Welcome.
Thanks for having me back on.
So Representative Robbie just ran through a couple of issue areas that progressives might be excited about, but having lost the House, people are, I think, rightly focused on some of the things that Joe Biden promised to do via executive order, like student debt cancellation, which has recently hit a hang-up in the courts. Student debt advocates at Strike Debt, like Asher Taylor, have pointed out that if Biden had not means tested the program and had used the compromise and settlement authority that exists under the Higher Education Act instead of the HEROES Act, which relies on an emergency COVID status for the debt to be canceled, then he would not have encountered the legal obstacles that he's encountered now. What do you say to people who say, what difference does it make to have more progressives in office if we can't get Biden to follow through on these basic promises that he could enact via executive order?
She makes a great point. I'll give it to her. She makes a really awesome point. So let's see what he's got to say about this one.
Progressives in Congress and the last one helped with the largest climate investment in the history of the country, made sure that we had an expansion of the child tax credit. Now we're pushing for it to be permanent, but that cut dramatically child poverty, massive investment in our schools.
Word fluff. Word fluff. I don't fucking believe you. How are you going to say you invested so much in climate change when there's more people that are talking about climate change and how fast it's coming? There isn't a fucking change in climate change. You haven't even put a dent in it. And then talking about getting children out of poverty, there's more children in poverty in America right now than ever before. Like he's all, we're doing so much better now than what we're doing in climate and stuff than we ever have been. Like we've been spending the last 50 years even trying to get just barely anything. Like even Al Gore got fucked in the presidential campaign when he was the one that was probably going to be able to help it out a little bit. We've never had any kind of help. Wasn't Donald Trump just president a few years ago when we were fucking like burning down the Amazon forest? Like, come on now. We haven't done shit. He's just putting up these fluff pieces saying that we're doing better than what we used to, but the bar is so fucking low. How are you even going to say that this is this is where we need to be? and this is, or this is how we are now, but that bar, like where we were, is so goddamn low, where we're like just trying to make up for even like halfway of trying to get where we want to be.
So we got a considerable amount done, and of course it was our activism that got the president to forgive some of the student loans. Some of us are pushing for even more. Now, if there is another way to do it that would meet the criteria of this court, then we'll advocate that, and the president can, I'm sure, use that authority if he needs to. But I think what he has done is legal, and we should be fighting for the legality of what he has done.
Representative Khan, of course, no debt has been canceled thus far because of the means-tested nature of it. Conservatives were able to mount these challenges, and even progressive commentators like Jed Sugarman at Fordham Law School have pointed out that under the legal authority that Joe Biden has chosen, it is likely that it's not just that conservative judges will rule against this if it gets to the Supreme Court, but that all judges, this could be a 9-0 decision, because the hook using the HEROES Act, a post 9/11 authority, is a relatively weak one. Do you have any insight into why Joe Biden chose to use the HEROES Act as opposed to using the Higher Education Act, which is the authority under which student loan debt is currently being postponed?
I don't know the details of the legal decisions. I mean, my understanding is he asked his lawyers, his legal team, what was the best way to do this, and this was the recommendation. But this is easily fixed. I mean, if there is a better way to do it, I'm sure the administration will. The important thing, though, is to note that many people in the administration still believe that this is a winnable case, and it was a Republican-appointed judge who struck it down. So we need to fight.
I didn't even see Les Bones either. What's up, Les Bones? Good to see you.
To ensure that the Republican Party and their judges aren't taking away student debt relief. And again, if we need something to fix it in Congress in the lame duck, or if the president has other means to do it, then we should be open to that if this fails for some reason.
Okay, so Ro Khanna doesn't know shit, or either he's pretending like he doesn't know shit, or he doesn't know shit. Like, how is it that somebody that like Brianna Joy Gray, who's just a person on the rising, is able to know more about the processes and how to get things passed in office than Ro Khanna, who is literally in office? Come on now, why is he playing games? I honestly think he's playing games. Right? Same, Nikki. He does. He keeps saying the same shit over and over again.
Representative, I want to ask you about funding for Ukraine.
I mean, she even had to ask the question twice, and she even gave him the answer. Like, she's all, well, why did he use the HEROES Act instead of the Higher Education Act? And he's like, well, I hope there's something there that, he can use other than the HEROES Act. Maybe if we can figure out a better way. And then she's like, look, he used the HEROES Act. Why couldn't he use the Higher Education Act? It would have been done a lot better. That way we don't have to use this like 9/11 act to be able to make something pass, which is super weak. And he's like, well, I don't know what he's using for legal processes. Like, come on, dude, you're really playing the dumb game right now. Really playing the fucking dumb game. Exactly. He's just got like this list of words, like, all right, I need to make sure I say all these words in like a, just in an order and not in order, just to make sure that I sound really smart. Yeah, Robbie's got to push. All right, let's see what Robbie says.
About funding for Ukraine. Obviously, there was this kind of brouhaha over this, what I thought was a perfectly sensible or mild letter from some Democratic House progressives, asking that as we continue to fund Ukraine's defense, that the Biden administration would push for renewed diplomacy, that, it shouldn't be this no strings attached kind of endless support. This is obviously something that some Republicans actually in the House have become very vocal about. It's been interesting to see a kind of, I think, ascendant anti-interventionist faction within the GOP. What are your thoughts on these dynamics? And I know you're someone, a progressive who probably feels and has voiced opinions kind of in line with Brianna's and mine on this issue. What is the, I guess, likelihood of progressives and maybe even some Republicans who would not agree on anything else, working together to press for an end to this war via diplomacy?
As you know, I stood by the CPC letter. To me, it seemed pretty vanilla. All it was saying is Putin's war is unjustified, it's unprovoked, it's illegal. We stand with Ukraine, but we want to make sure that we have diplomacy to minimize the risk of the war escalating, to minimize the risk of nuclear confrontation, to minimize civilian casualties. And look, Putin has put 300,000 troops on the border and in Ukraine, but he can mobilize up to 3 million. And he's systematically striking electricity supplies and utilities in Ukraine. So he is a brutal person, and we should not underestimate how brutal he will be and continue to be. So I have continued to say that I support standing with Ukraine, but I support diplomacy and communication with the Russian counterparts. Lo and behold, it turns out all the generals agree with me. And the New York Times has been
He just says that Putin was only put out this amount of troops and could put out millions more, and that he's systematically, strategically going for certain areas, and that he's brutal. Like, do you not understand what American elitism is all about? Like, have you lived in America, bro? Do you know what we do to other countries? Like, come on now. Putin is not that brutal. If anything, Putin is being nice, trying to like hold back this little ant country, you know, that's like trying to fight him. It just seems, man, the wordy, like we were saying yesterday, the verbiage and the words that these people use to make you and manipulate your brain into thinking that, you know, a certain way instead of looking at both sides of the story is absolutely ridiculous. Like, I understand Putin is not like the best of the best kind of guys, but Jesus fucking Christ, like, couldn't you say like he has 30,000 troops, he could put 3 million more. If anything, he's trying to be nice to Ukraine to get them to stop doing it. Like, there's speeches that are out there where Putin is like, I'm willing to talk peace talks with Ukraine. And then right afterwards, Zelensky's like, we need nukes to do preemptive attacks. And then Putin's like, well, if you do a nuke attack, bro, I'm going to fucking hit you back. Like, you can't do that first. I'm going to hit you back. And then Zelensky's like, America, we need your help. Putin's gonna nuke us. They're going to nuke us. We need some more weapons. It's absolutely wild to me. It's like the kid, like Putin's like the dude in school, like the big buff dude that just doesn't want to fight anyone, that just wants to be left alone. And like Ukraine's this little like talkative like nerd kid that just won't shut the fuck up and like leave him alone at all. Like, he's picking on me, he touched me, like, or like Ukraine's like the little kid who walks down the aisle of like the classroom, and like he bumps into Putin and then looks at the teacher and is like, he hit me. It's fucking ridiculous. I know people are gonna call me a Putin puppet, but whatever, man. I'm used to it. That's why I just laugh at people when they do that. They call me Putin puppet, and I'm just like, so you're just mad because Putin can ride on a fucking bear topless and you can't, bitch. Yeah, exactly. Using typical war tactics. And if anything, he's doing it like not as bad as he could be. You know, he's like hitting electricity and certain things like that, which, yeah, fucking sucks. It's probably cold out there, but maybe Ukraine should stop. Just tell him to stop. Better than being a Biden puppet. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yappy dog Ukraine. Exactly what it is.
This last week, general after general saying that that's a prudent approach.
So then to what do you attribute all of the brouhaha about the letter?
I don't know. I think it was much ado about nothing, to borrow the famous Shakespeare quote. I mean, I don't think that the letter was controversial when written. I don't understand why we retracted it. That's why, if you notice, I went on television actually and supported it because the letter was not saying anything about funding actually. And you know, my position has been voting for every funding package. I've been criticized from people to my left for that.
Wait, you got to go to the $1.25 tree? That fucking sucks. What happened to the Dollar Tree? Oh yeah, that's right, inflation. Welcome to capitalism. Have fun. Oh, they have Russian agent t-shirts? No way. If they do, I'll pay you for it. Is it $1.25 for the shirt?
All the letter was saying is that we need diplomacy. We had diplomacy at the height of the Cold War. We would never have convinced Russia, in my view, to leave Afghanistan if we weren't at the same time talking to them while we were arming the Mujahideen. President Reagan engaged in diplomacy. Most of the our leaders, Republican and Democrat, have engaged in diplomacy.
Okay.
So I was.
I thought they had like Russian agent T-shirts at the $1.25 store. Oh, that would be great. Oh, nesting dolls. Those are really cool. Those are the ones where you pop it open and there's another one inside, and you pop it open and there's another one inside. I used to love those as kids. My grandma had a few of them and I thought they were so cool.
A bit surprised why that has suddenly become a controversy.
Like you guys, like so many people talk shit about Russia, but it's fucking beautiful out there too. Like if you've watched Fiorella's pictures that she's been posting on her Twitter of being in Russia, holy fuck, it's gorgeous. It's absolutely beautiful.
Position.
Well, Representative, I want to switch gears and ask you a little bit about the speakership race.
Exactly.
When
Like,
asked if she would support House Speaker Nancy Pelosi for another term as Democratic leader, or if she herself planned to fight for the seat, Representative Jayapal skirted the question, instead explaining the CPC considers all people who are running and how they match up to the set of things the CPC asks for.
On Monday, you answered.
I'm like so totally stoned and I keep thinking about it. Can you imagine like if there was like a Russian dollar store out here, but because it's Russian, they make it a $1.25 store because they hate Russians so much. So they're like, we're going to make it a $1.25 store and tax you guys extra. All right, I'm done. That was my stoner brain.
That same question by saying that Pelosi deserves the chance to lead after her courage in certifying the 2020 election following January 6th. Can you elaborate on your thoughts here?
Well, I think the speaker has shown remarkable courage after the horrific incident on Paul Pelosi. A lot of people would just say, I'm done with politics. She has stayed out there on the battlefield. She also showed courage in certifying the January 6th results. And we've massively overperformed in the election in terms of what people were expecting. So she deserves the chance to say what she's doing. I have no insight into what she wants to do, whether she wants to contest for leadership, whether she wants to stay in the Congress, not in leadership, whether she wants to do something else. But from my vantage point, she's earned the right to make that decision.
What do you say to people who might argue that who should be a leader, whether minority leader or majority leader, should be less about their kind of personal deservedness, whether or not they showed courage in the face of 1/6 or have suffered personal tragedy with respect to her husband being, brutally attacked, but instead should be more calculated to the interests of the people, especially if you're speaking from the perspective of a CPC member, what is in the best interest of progressives. Some progressives like AOC, when she was running for office, made a point of saying that Nancy Pelosi doesn't represent her interests and would not
get out of here. Go have some fun. Thanks for stopping by. Everybody go check out Nikichka on Twitch. If you type in that name on Twitch, go give her a follow. She will probably be on right after me today. So then you've got, some extra hours of the same kind of stuff. So I pretty much copy her and do the same thing that she does as well. So if you guys want to continue after I'm done today, she will be right on after me at over on Twitch though. So go check her out on Twitch. Definitely go check her out on Twitch. Thank you. Love you, girl. Go have some fun. Go get some stuff done.
Get her vote as a default for Speaker of the House. That seemed to have changed in the context of the force the vote discussion during the last speakership vote. What criteria is the exclusive criteria here, whether or not Nancy Pelosi is powerful and deserved on an individual level, or should there be some more consideration for whether or not she is effectively advancing the interests of the left?
Well, there should be a consideration of whether she's effectively advancing progressive ideals and setting up a democracy. I don't think her courage is just about her person.
I put her Twitch channel in the comment section, you guys, so you guys can go and check her out and give her a follow, so that way you don't have to go and look for her. You can just click on that and head right over there and follow her.
Personal virtues. I think it is about someone tough who's going to take on election deniers, who's going to stand up for democracy, take up and stand up to Kevin McCarthy and some of the extreme elements of that caucus. And I have seen
really shaken
that she is a fighter on those issues, and obviously democracy was on the ballot this time. I've also seen that she has been able to stand up for a lot of progressive priorities in the negotiation. Some of the other folks in leadership aren't as sympathetic often to progressives. But I guess the question is always the alternative. And I don't. If someone were to emerge who I thought would do a better job, I'd obviously consider it. But
Well, is
right
there no
now,
one-
I think that she'd be good.
Is there no one being considered? Because this was a part of the conversation in the last cycle. The pushback against folks who wanted there to be a more competitive race for the speaker said that there was no one in the wings. And that seems to be a problem with the Democratic leadership, which is much older, especially when you look across the aisle at what's going on with Republicans. There are people openly mounting challenges to Kevin McCarthy right now. And Republican leadership generally seems to be more energetic and younger. Is a failure to cultivate or even kind of ask questions about who could replace Nancy Pelosi, causing there to be such a shallow bench on the left?
I don't think so. First of all, I don't think age is a consideration. I mean, I was proud to support Senator Sanders twice, and he's generated record enthusiasm among young people. So I think it's more about a person's convictions and what they want to do than
I would agree.
Whether someone is young or old. But I think there are a whole number of people who are going to be part of the next generation of leadership conversations. I mean, I'm not saying anything new. Hakeem Jeffries, Pramila Jayapal.
Okay, he's just talking about the squad and Nancy Pelosi and stuff. Okay, so yes, you are absolutely right, Shake and Bacon. I just found a bunch of stuff. It's apparently happened within the last hour or so. This is actually really kind of scary because I usually think about this. World War I believe, was started because a man went to another country. I believe it was Poland. Franz Ferdinand went to somewhere in another country and he was murdered. And that was pretty much what started World War II. If you ever look up Franz Ferdinand and the start of World War I, start of World War II, start of World War I, that's how it got started. So anytime I hear like anything like that scares the shit out of me. So, all right. I have it up right here. Where is it? So AP reports that. Wait, why is it saying strikes put Russia in darkness? Why are you doing that? No, that's not. Yeah, I see what you're saying, like Russian missile, U.S. official, Russian missiles crossed into Poland, killing 2. I'm trying to find one that I can open. Yeah, U.S. officials are saying it, though. Yeah, you're not going to let me read it. Of course you're not. Okay. I know there's video on it too because I have YouTube up as well. Of course, Google's going to be like ridiculous. Fox is blaming it on Russia, it looks like.
Russia launching a major missile attack in cities all across Ukraine, and now reports that a missile crossed into NATO territory, killing 2 people in Poland. Our senior foreign affairs correspondent Greg Palkot is live in Kiev. And what do we know about this report from Poland, and what are the potential implications?
John, this is the huge, significant event that we're just tracking in just the last couple of minutes. According to a senior U.S. official and according to reports on the ground, a Russian missile fired from somewhere off of Ukraine went into Ukraine airspace, but then veered into eastern Poland and actually hit a target, not a target, but a site in eastern Poland, killing 2 people. This is the first time something like this has happened. This triggers all sorts of questions about what the reaction could be from NATO. I think we all know now about that Article 5 of NATO, that any attack on an ally of the United States, of a NATO member, would trigger some kind of response from NATO. So again, breaking news. Just about
all the Warhawks, man. The Warhawks are going to be in full force right now. They are like, bring on World War III. Let's fucking go. I swear this is like a video game to them. Exactly. All the billionaires. So it is a video game to them because they all have bunkers. Yeah, it scares the shit out of me. Here we fucking go, man. The Warhawks are on the move.
Last 10 minutes or so, we are tracking it. We'll give you more as we know about it. But yes, Let's talk about this huge barrage of missiles that hit Ukraine today, the biggest barrage of this entire war. We heard a few hours ago the air raid sirens. We heard explosions. Take a look at what we saw. What happened is a Russian missile was flying over this residential
Really
area.
quick, did you hear him?
Shot.
He's all, take a look at what we saw. He sounded like that one guy who does like the scary stuff with the weird voice on YouTube. Take a look at what we saw.
Flying over this residential area. It was shot by Ukrainian air defenses. Some fragments hit that building, caused a hole, caused a lot of damage, and then pieces of that missile fell down into the street. You can see it right here being taken away by officials. Incredible stuff. The fire raged in the building for a long time. One person was killed, one person injured. We were at the scene. We can't believe the casualty toll wasn't higher. All told, according to officials here, over 90 missiles were fired by Russia today in the direction of Ukraine from all sides.
Come out here to California and move out here with us. And then if it ends up happening, my husband has a friend who has an underground bunker. You come stay with us, okay? We'll keep you there with us. I always told my husband, he like goes out to one of his guys' house that he knows to go. It's a house, but it's also a location for their sets. The guy who rents out his house to shoot locations, and he has this underground bunker. And my husband's like, "So what you gonna do with it?" Like he's like, "Well, I'm gonna save it for the end of the world, of course." And so I told my husband, I'm like, "You need to tell him that we're gonna go stay in his bunker." And the guy even said we could. So I was like, yes, I'm going to steal the whole fucking bunker. It's mine. And I'm going to bring all my friends with me.
Sides. Ukraine says it shot down around 70, but the rest got through. Once again, those hitting power stations and other parts of the
live
electric
just like
grid here.
how millennial or how Gen Z lives, where we're like, oh, we're all going to die anyway. Fuck it. Might as well just have some fun. Fuck everything.
Knocked out power all over. Millions tonight here in Kyiv and across the country are without electricity. The president's office here said it was Russia's response to Zelensky's video message to the G20 summit today, demanding that Russia withdraw all of its troops from Ukraine and all of its borders be restored. Others think it might have just been payback.
Good. Okay. All right. At least you can make
by Ukraine of the Russian-held city of Kherson. But
you're gonna be like the dudes from Zombieland, like running like across country, just looking for Twinkie trucks. You're like, I gotta get to California, and the Twinkies are the only fucking things that made it. I'm done. I'm fired. You guys, y'all need to send me to bed or something.
And back to the breaking news that we're following here, John and Sandra, potentially immensely significant. It looks like one of those missiles, according to a U.S. official, which Associated Press is reporting, we do not have this yet confirmed from Polish authorities. It seems like one of those Russian missiles strayed across the border between Ukraine and Poland, hit a site in Poland, apparently just a civilian site there, but killing 2 people. We understand the Polish government is in emergency session now, taking a look at this. We'll be watching it as the day develops. Back to you guys.
So thinking about the potential repercussions.
Oh, yeah,
Of
repercussions.
the missile straying into Polish territory. Poland is a NATO member. NATO has something called Article 5, an attack against one is an attack against all. Is this something that could potentially rise to Article 5 level, or do you think this is something that will be contained just within the Polish government? There'll be a strong response toward Russia, not much else.
We can't predict that at this point, John, but certainly throughout this entire war and prior to this war, prior to February 24th, that has been the risk. That has been the danger that the U.S. and NATO allies have been very concerned about. NATO has been worked hard to prevent this war from happening, essentially because of this kind of danger. And it has flatly stated before and during this war that if Russia decided to intentionally attack any NATO ally, there would be a NATO response. And frankly, according to the NATO charter, John, that could be very strong. Is this an intentional attack? Is this a mistake? We will see again in the next
Of
hours.
course
We're
it's
waiting
a
for a response from
mistake.
NATO as well.
You obviously would think, do you really honestly truly think that Russia, or Putin himself and his people would purposely shoot missiles at Poland and kill people, knowing full well that Poland is part of NATO? Russia's been cool with NATO being around for how long? As long as NATO didn't try to expand its territories towards the east, which is right up on Russian border, which is what they've been doing because Ukraine is right on the Russian border. So NATO is trying to expand Ukraine, or expand NATO, because it wants Ukraine part of NATO. I think it was a complete accident. Even if it was Russian missiles, I think it was a complete accident. And I really, truly, honestly think that NATO is just looking into getting into another war anyway. So it's fucking bound. This shit, either that or we're all like, they're, sitting here, hyperboling and talking about how scary and big this is going to be, when it's all just going to be a big mistake maybe. And they're going to be like, it's all right, let's just continue this war. I don't know. Yeah, like a tactical nuke false flag, right? This is streamed 19 minutes ago.
Thank you very much for joining us this evening. It is Thursday, the 15th of November, and we have now had confirmed reports from the Associated Press as well as a senior US intelligence official confirming the fact that 2 Russian missiles have hit a location in Poland, killing 2 Polish citizens. This has just literally in the last few minutes been released. There have been pictures from the scene showing a vehicle and a large crater, and the emergency services are attending the location. But it has been confirmed that 2 Polish citizens have been killed in Russian airstrikes. We can presume that they were part of the large Russian missile attacks, quite immoral, on cities and locations across the Ukraine, which were intended to cripple the country by destroying the energy infrastructure. We have heard that the Ukrainian city of Lviv, located in the western part of the country, was hit with multiple attacks, and over 80% of the city is about energy. But this is the shocking news. The Russian missiles have landed in Poland. We can presume by mistake. The location itself is just relatively near a border crossing that I was at about a week after the war began, when I was taking a Ukrainian refugee and 3 African students, Nigerian students who were studying in Ukraine, from the border to safety in Warsaw and then onwards. So this is relatively close to the Ukrainian border. It's a place called Przewodów in Lubelski district. And we can confirm that 2 people have been killed in that attack. Right now, we heard a few hours ago that the Polish government was convening a Security Council meeting. And we also understand that Russian missiles are still landing in Ukraine. I think many of us have expected this moment to have happened. We know that Russian missile systems are out of date. We can see the effect of decades of corruption and mismanagement. And we can only imagine at the chaos that goes on in the Russian army, which has resulted in an attack on a NATO.
Wow, his assumptions are wild. You got some wild assumptions, dude. Russian missiles crossed into Poland on CNBC, Reuters, 7 News, Australia. Russian missiles cross into NATO member Poland. What is this? Hub News? News Hub?
Some worrying developments this morning. Poland is a NATO member country. They have a military alliance to protect each other. And this morning we are hearing reports that a missile, unsure at this stage exactly where it has come from, that a missile has landed across the Polish border. So this is not inside Ukraine. This is inside Poland. Farmland, we're being told. And 2 people reportedly potentially killed by this attack.
Yeah, Polish government spokesperson has said that they are discussing now a crisis situation. The point that this is a NATO member, that Poland is a NATO member, is a crucial one, because Ukraine is not a NATO member. A lot of the conflict there is because they want to become a NATO member and Russia doesn't want them to. The backing of NATO means that NATO members have a responsibility to get involved when national security is under threat. And the fact that Ukraine has not been a NATO member has meant that there has been...
Yeah, it's NATO's like a NATO itself as an organization is like a trigger button for war. It's it's like all these fucking rich companies all these rich countries got together and they're like, oh yeah, no, if they mess with you, then we'll go and protect you, so that way we can make more money on war. It's a trigger button for profit on war. That's exactly what NATO is. It's disgusting. But go ahead, talk about how you think NATO is awesome. Gross. Yeah, right. At least you didn't assume it's Russia. Right. How many people have died in Afghanistan today? How many people have died in Yemen today? Thank you. You're so right. How many people have died in the US today? How many people have died in Somalia today? It's ridiculous. Let me know when Puerto Rico can be able to vote too, for their own president as well. We would love that.
Barriers, some
but let's worry about
for NATO members to not get involved and not actually put boots on the ground.
Yeah, which is why you're seeing the supply of weapons and the supply that we'll help you in every other way, but get directly involved in fighting your battles for you. Whereas Poland, once you cross that border, it is mates look after mates over there. And that includes, crucially, the United States of America, right? So this is potentially quite a significant development this morning. And as I said, we don't yet know where the missile came from. However, the missile landed in Poland at around the same time Russia was firing reportedly 100 missiles onto Ukraine. So, I suspect they think there's a strong correlation between the two events, but we are yet to determine, as Melissa says, a crisis meeting taking place right now.
If it is deliberate or if it's not, I would imagine that Poland will have to say there will be some consequences. And how that escalates this is what is concerning. Whether it does, we have to wait and see. But it's certainly a concerning security development on the global stage.
Okay, so yeah, I see what you were saying
It's not even
about
in high school yet, but a little.
I see what you were saying about the worried
There's
about
some
a
worrying
tactical
developments.
false flag and everything with that. I can see that because they're not even saying that. Everywhere else is saying that it's Russia. They don't know. They're saying that it could be a correlation because of the timing, but that's what certain countries and certain strategies do as well, as they wait until these are coming and then they use that as the distraction to go do something else. So we don't know. We're going to have to keep our eye out watching our independent news friends. I would probably keep an eye out with like the Gray Zone or something, because they pretty much I know that Adam Matei and his friend do really good on trying to figure out at least the truths in some of these things. So I would definitely not be listening to any kind of mainstream media when it comes to this information. But as of right now, it's so new that it's hard to even
major Russian airstrikes across
But at least we
Ukrainian
know we don't know that it's Russia. We don't know that it's Russia. So even though all these mainstream news are saying that it is, we don't know.
Major Russian airstrikes across Ukrainian cities, including the capital, Kyiv. Ukrainian officials say at least 85 missiles have targeted the country's energy infrastructure. Ukraine is reporting widespread power outages now. This Russian barrage of airstrikes started, of course, after Ukraine took back the city of Kherson.
That just looks like an apartment complex.
Hey, if you like that video, be sure to subscribe.
So that just looked like an apartment complex. Interesting. Missile hits Poland, kills 2. Let's see something else that we haven't watched. See, this one's saying that it's a stray Russian missile killing 2. Live breaking coverage. The fact that MSM is all screaming Russia makes me lean right? It probably wasn't, though we don't know and probably won't for a bit. Exactly. Like I said, we got to keep an eye on our independent streamers that are on YouTube, because they're going to be the ones that are going to be able to find, you know, the pictures of the missile to see where it was made at. You know, it's usually people like that. People like I was saying, Aaron Matei, or possibly the multipolarista guy is probably really good at finding out information. Pasta, I know Pasta is really good at doing that as well. So we just got to keep my definitely my money's on Astray, definitely accident, most likely. So like I said, we just got to keep an eye out for our independent news streamers to talk about it, because they're going to get the real information and not what the mainstream media is telling us, which they automatically blame that Russia probably did it on purpose and, you know, wanting to get, just so they can get NATO involved. So it's going to be interesting to see what people have to say too, the regular people. Like, now they got NATO involved. Are we ready for a World War III? Is all these people that are like with the yellow and blue flags on their profile pictures and saying, I support Ukraine and stuff, are they ready for a World War III now? Like, are they fucking ready? Because I don't know how many more times we're going to be triggered closer and closer to World War III until the point where it's just too late. You know, we're just going to be, our war hawks want it so fucking bad. How are the regular citizens of America that are like, I stand for Ukraine? How are they doing now? Like, are they ready for World War III? Are they going to put themselves out there to go and fight in battle? Or are they going to sit there and say, we respect our veterans, and sit at home while fucking people are out there losing their fucking lives? So, but they'll put a nice little, you know, tombstone there next to like 50 million other tombstone crosses that all look the same, and do a yearly celebration for you, though. I promise. It's disgusting. Let's see. Russian missile attack in Poland. World War III and NATO danger. Come on, Kevin.
Come on, man. I'm at the
Do me good,
pool, and
Kevin.
now we potentially got to go to World War III. What is this?
This guy said I was at the pool, and now we potentially got to go to World War III. I already like this guy. He's got to be a Gen Zer. I love the way the Gen Zs think. They're like, man, how many times are we going to be threatened to be killed and the apocalypse is coming? It's fucking coming. Let's just fucking have some fun. Damn it.
With fighter
Love
jets
these
being
kids.
scrambled and people dying in Poland. What is this? Well, folks, let's break down everything that's going on, because the stock market is fading its rally under fears that maybe World War III is afoot. Let's break down what's actually happening, and then let's get into some reasonable, or I should say reasoned, potential conclusions. So here's what just happened. The Associated Press is reporting that 2 missiles that were aiming for Ukraine, potentially Ukrainian infrastructure, have accidentally landed on a Polish grain drying processing unit in Poland on some kind of farm, and 2 people have died. This is clearly an attack on Poland, but the definition of attack is going to be very, very important here. Was it intentional or unintentional? Is it a false flag? Was this a bomb that was planted? Was it Ukraine? A lot of questions. But before we get into questions, let's think about what this potentially means and why this is happening. So after Russia got booted out of Kherson, okay, this was pretty embarrassing for Russia, and they completely retreated out of this eastern city. Now, remember, Kherson is actually really important because it gives a strategic advantage to Ukrainian troops for actually attacking Crimea, which is just southeast of this, and a relatively strong strategically starting point for taking Crimea back. Of course, taking Crimea back has always been a huge goal ever since Ukraine lost it. And remember, the 2014 quote-unquote illegal annexation of Crimea has left tensions in the region between Ukraine and Russia for the last 8 years. These tensions have never really been resolved. And so this is part of the disaster that continues to go on. But anyway, in retaliation for this, apparently, Russia has shelled the snot out of Ukraine today, and half of the
Russia didn't shell the snot out of Ukraine today because of something that happened in 2014. Is this guy for real right now? Like, he was cool at first, but now he sounds like a typical shit lib. And this dude forgot the sun cream. Exactly. He fell asleep at the poolside with his sunglasses on, you can tell. Or he just wears his sunglasses everywhere, so that's just, he's got the raccoon eyes forever. Yeah, this guy sounds like starting to sound like a shit lib. Like how, the way that these people think, man, these like shit libs, centrist Democrats, the way they think that this stuff is happening. Like, you really think that Russia bombed Ukraine this morning, an hour ago, because of something that happened in 2014? Like, come the fuck on. You really think that Russians and Putin doesn't have a mind of its own and can't have like a life and a thought process and a mentality and a whole existence outside of one situation in one certain area? Like, dude, do you think that Bezos only owns Amazon? Do you think that fucking Bill Gates only owns Microsoft? Like, get the fuck out of here with this shit. Because Putin only is doing this to Ukraine because of 2014. Only right now, this bombing was because of 2014. Like, Putin just sat on his fucking throne out in Russia and was like, yeah, you know what? I'm pissed at them today, what they did to me in 2014. So I'm just gonna bomb them today really bad. Get the fuck over yourself.
Capital is now without power as multiple infrastructure plants were hit. One resident was actually killed in a residence tower that was hit. And now it looks like a couple missiles have accidentally landed in Poland. Now, Poland is a member
You see,
of...
he did the accidentally with the quotes. Come on. Now you're thinking that Russia's doing it on purpose too? You really think that they were like, yeah, let's fuck up NATO and let's start a World War III? You all really think that fucking Putin wants to start World War III so fucking bad? It's
not only the European Union, but it's also a member of NATO. Not only is it a member of NATO, but some folks like to argue that Poland is actually a little bit more of an aggressive war hawk, if you will. Here's a picture of a pretty popular cartoon that gets circulated. Poland waiting for a Russian missile fragment to hit their territory so they can trigger Article 5. We'll talk about what that is in a moment. And you kind of see them as almost like a rabbit or angry dog, and calm NATO trying to hold the leash. In other words, trying to hold them back. Here's an image of when we got the breaking news of this attack and sort of what the attack looks like here. Polish fighter jets have been scrambled, and the Prime Minister of Poland is now convening a special and emergency meeting to discuss this attack. Now, in my opinion, there are going to be some very important things that get discussed at this meeting. The most important thing is this actually the beginning of an attack on Poland? Probably not. Was this either a false flag operation, a Ukrainian operation, or an unintentional attack by Russia? One of those three things? Quite more likely and probable that it's one of those three things. And so this is where Poland has to now investigate, determine, okay, what is the extent of this? Is this a continuing attack, or is this an isolated incident? Then the phrase attack is actually going to be very, very important because of how Article 5 is written. So Article 5 is the collective defense article with NATO. This is very important. So let's go ahead and look at this together. Collective defense means that an attack against one ally is considered an attack against all allies. The principle of collective defense is enshrined in Article 5 of the Washington Treaty, and NATO first invoked Article 5 after the 9/11 attacks. And the important thing here is the way you can invoke this is basically if you deem you are under attack, you can request that an emergency session of NATO be convened, and then you could potentially at that meeting, as a single member, invoke Article 5. Now, I don't think that politically Poland and the other members of NATO, of course the United States being the largest one of that, will have any kind of or allow any kind of confusion amongst whether or not Article 5 will be getting invoked. Now, what I mean by that is I believe if Article 5 is going to get invoked, everyone who is part of NATO will already have, like, behind the scenes agreed, yes, go ahead and invoke it. We're ready. Now, unfortunately, that means NATO troops more NATO troops, should I say, potentially going to, which many of them are American, potentially going to secure the border even more over at Poland? Does this potentially mean air defense systems getting moved to Poland? Does it potentially, and this is even worse, because the United States and NATO members have vowed to defend every inch of NATO, does it potentially mean NATO troops moving into Ukraine so that they can protect every inch of NATO, right? To protect NATO, you don't want to be fighting on NATO territory. You fight right outside of that battle line. But now you're fighting Russia, basically, because Russia is obviously in Ukraine. Now, most of Russian troops are on the eastern side, but this is absolutely a concern. Now, again, I don't think that
Wow, Poland and NATO would want to battle Russia in Ukraine so that NATO doesn't get its lands ruined in Poland, so it does it outside of it. But aren't we supposed to be protecting Ukraine, and now you're just going to use Ukraine as a battleground? Is that what we do in the Middle East as well? I bet it is. Disgusting. I bet you think, dude, Mr. Kevin, dude, I bet you think this is great because you just talked about it like it doesn't mean anything. Just right off your shoulders, like, okay, you totally understand what we do and you think it's okay.
all of a sudden, out of some meeting, we're going to get Poland going, that's it, we want to do Article 5. I would expect there would be some kind of political cohesion here, because think about this. If Poland says Article 5, and then all the other countries are like, no, this was a mistake, this was unintentional, then it looks like you have no cohesion, and NATO actually looks really weak in front of Russia, which is really bad. NATO needs to look unified. Now, in the past, we have actually had NATO and the United States and Secretary Blinken say things like, not only will we defend every inch of NATO, but they've gone as far as saying even an unintentional attack will be retaliated against. Now, they're either going to have to eat those words or they're going to have to act on those. I think they will act however they do in unison, but obviously markets are shifting down on this news, because if this is the beginning of NATO versus Russia, then we essentially have World War III. Now, nobody wants to actually talk about that because that's scary. Not only does that now reintroduce this idea of nuclear weapons, but it's just a complete crisis. So let me go ahead and pull up the latest potential news here, since this is a breaking story here. Again, we've got fighter jets scrambled, 2 dead. A lot of this having to do with the attack by Russian missiles that were launched on infrastructure today. And we are expecting, okay, here we go, Polish government to hold a meeting at 8 GMT. So GMT right now at the time of this recording, it is 7:14. And it's currently 1:14 Eastern time. So at 2 p.m. Eastern time in the United States, this meeting will.
Oh, so 2, 1, 12, 11. So it's already passed.
Be held. And so I would expect that meeting could potentially take an hour, 2 hours tops. After the meeting and the investigative results, or at least preliminary investigative results, I would expect, it looks like Hungary is also holding now a defense meeting. But anyway, I would expect that after these meetings are held over the next 2 hours here, they will then correspond with their associated members within NATO, but also the United States, seek advice or input or whatever they want to do. And ultimately, we will get some kind of, I would expect, statement and update as to how Poland wants to treat this and how NATO wants to react to this. Obviously, it's leading stocks lower right now. It is creating fear. The Pentagon is stating they cannot corroborate reports of these 2 missiles. Again, we don't know, is it actually a bomb or these missiles? Who launched them? That's probably the most important part. Now, of course, there's commentary like, hey, this is a huge game changer. Maybe World War III will stop the Fed from hiking rates, although wars tend to create more inflation, which would mean a larger rate increases. So no matter which way you slice this, it's bad. My expectation is the Russians just screwed up. Now, I don't want to excuse that, because 2 people in NATO and in the EU just died because of Russia's war, right? So there's going to be some kind of retaliation from NATO and Western countries, but are those going to be sanctions, or are those going to be a buffering up of defenses at the Polish line? Worst thing would be some kind of buffering up of defenses that actually moves into Ukraine. Either way, I'll keep you updated with information. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.
Yeah, so I'm looking this up, trying to figure out if there's any updated news on this. Of course. Of course, you want to go on to the next one. So, like I was reading here in CNN, it's saying that a government spokesperson said that Polish Prime Minister has convened the Committee of Council of Ministers for National Security and Defense Affairs. So, I'm trying to figure out if there's any update with this. I'm going to copy and paste these words right here to see if anything comes up with these. 4 days ago, Poland. If it was a stray, Putin will admit it. Oh, okay. Yeah, you already said that. Sorry. Polish premier calls urgent meeting of national security. That's on Reuters. Cabinet spokesperson was not immediately available for comment. His tweet did not mention what the committee was due to discuss. That's not giving us anything. So I think we're just waiting to see what the committee of the Council of Ministers in Poland are going to do next. Poland calls for urgent defense meeting. Let's see if we can find something that's been updated in the past hour. Okay, here's on Twitter, Polish Prime Minister convened the emergency meeting of committee. 2 initial reports, 1 or 2 Russian missiles. Okay, what is this? Status 6. So 2 Poles killed as a result. 2 Polish people were killed. Okay. Update, Russian missiles crossed into Poland, killing 2 people. This is the Radio Zet reporter who first reported. Follow more to update. Latest news from Poland is most concerning. Here, see, this is what I was talking about. Pieces of the missile. So this is how we're going to find out if it's Russian or not. So they were saying that it happened on a farmland. As you could tell, there's like tractor trailer right here. That looks like some train tracks. There's a piece of it. There's another piece of it. And another piece. So they'll probably figure out who made that. And they'll figure out who did that with that. No flight zone for Western Ukraine established by NATO to protect NATO territory from stray cruise missiles. See, like non-NATO countries just have to deal with shit, like their country just shutting down so that NATO is protected because NATO is like super countries. It's so gross. The village is very near the border with Ukraine, so that's where it hit. Yeah, there's another one. Poland waiting for reason to Article 5. NATO's holding it back. Here we go, boys. Oh my God. See, people are excited about it. They just don't fucking care. That's crazy to me. Let's see in here. Is this part of it too? What's S? Yep. Ukrainian S-300 missile misfired in... Wait. This person said it's a Ukrainian S-300 missile landed in Poland. S-300 normal reach in air defense has a maximum range of 150 kilometers. There's no way that a Russian S-300 used as ground attack missile could have hit Poland. Reports that the missile that hit Poland could be S-300, which are traditionally air defense. However, Russia has reported them for offensive purposes after running low on precision weapons. If true, Russia will likely use propaganda to blame Ukraine. These people are saying that it's not. A post claimed that a Ukrainian S-300 anti-aircraft missile hit Poland. Vladimir Solovyov shared a post calling for NATO to invoke Article 5 and declare war on Ukraine. Of course he is. Of course, of course. The Rescue Service of Poland published a photo of the debrief. It looks like a debrief of S-300, so people are already starting to claim it. Reminds me of the S-300 air defense missile. See, this person's starting to, these people are starting to get it. If this turns out to be Ukraine S-300, does Poland invade Ukraine? Here we go. There will be no war with NATO. This is a piece of the S-300 rocket. Ukrainian idiots killed two people. We'll note that the remnant here looks somewhat like an S-300 type missile. Compare with images from past remnants we've seen in Ukraine. Oh, yep. Look, the holes right there compared to these holes here. Yeah. If the missile was an S-300. So people are just talking about how it was an S-300. Lots of people talking about World War III. At least 2 dead. The amount of people clamoring for NATO Article 5 to be invoked over Poland is Article 5 like on Twitter as well? God, somebody put Ghost from Modern Warfare. When you wake up from a power nap and see Poland and Russian missiles and Article 5 with 2 dead trending. According to CNN, Russian Defense Ministry said it's a deliberate. Oh, no. Oh, no. I like that. I really wish I wasn't living through a major historical event right now. Welcome to being millennial. We all have been going through an historical event for our entire lives. I'm about fucking kids, man. These kids, literally everyone after Poland declares Article 5. I'm about to die in a nuclear war. Oh, memesters. When you're laughing at World War III memes and start wondering why the sun is coming out at 9 p.m. Oh my God. Jesus fucking Christ. You gotta be kidding me, right? You gotta be kidding me. A senior U.S. intelligence official says Russian missiles crossed. Okay, people would probably take a deep breath and not go down the World War III rabbit hole because an errant missile isn't going to trigger Article 5. I definitely expect a response of some sort, but NATO isn't going to war over an errant missile. There's our own Johnny. People are literally cheering on Article 5, invocation of NATO to propel the war in Ukraine to World War III over the incident in Poland. It's really gross watching people salivate over the notion of worldwide calamity. Thank you, Johnny. Abso-fucking-lutely. 100% agree. The sun coming out at 9 p.m. It's horrible. It's horrible. We're going to hell. We're all going to hell. Well, I guess this is going to be hell soon in America, or on Earth is going to be hell soon. On the same day, let's see, it's worth remembering. So yeah, everybody's just still talking about it. I still want to see what's happening with it over on YouTube. Poland. Let's see who else is talking about it. We'll do a filter for the last hour. 7 News Australia is talking about it, but they're super racist out there. Sky News is live right now talking about it. Here we go. Pentagon press secretary responds to reports of Russian missiles hitting inside Poland.
We are
Warmonger has to say. We just hit 8 billion people, so the war hawks are ready to lower that number. Yeah, we were just talking about that last night, especially with like what we were talking about yesterday on the show too, with the euthanasia in Canada, and then us getting so easily into World War III and provoking Article 5. It just seems like, the whole like depopulation thing, making everybody's tinfoil hats even thicker. So This girl's not going to sleep tonight. Sorry about that. It's all right. If you got a computer, download Grounded and come and play with us, and you don't have to go to sleep. You just hang out with us. I need more girls.
Reports alleging that 2 Russian missiles have struck a location inside Poland near the Ukraine border. I can tell you that we don't have any information at this time to corroborate those reports and are looking into this further. And so when we do have an update to provide, we'll be sure to do so.
This is going to be irritating, but I know you said you don't have any information on the Russian strikes. Is there any suggestion or sense that the U.S. believes this is not accurate? Are you looking into it? Can you give us just some sense of whether or not these reports are deemed believable, and what, if any, calls may be happening right now?
Yeah, thanks very much, Lita. So as I mentioned, right now, we are aware of the press reporting on this. We have no information at this time to corroborate those reports, but again, are taking them seriously and looking into them. And so I will make sure that we provide you with any updates as soon as we have them. Did you have a follow-up, Lita?
It's so weird, like how this is such big news because of 2 people dying and you know, stray missiles and stuff. Like, we do so much worse to other countries, and this never gets brought up. Like, we're starving people, we're like bombing countries and coup d'etat-ing their leaders and stuff, and none of that ever gets brought out like this kind of thing does. It's only like when it's white on white crime, white people are like, oh my god, we need to cover every aspect of this. But it's like white on colored crime, and white people are like, what happened? I don't know what happened. What's going on over there? What's a Yemen? It's ridiculous. When you dream, you often think about nukes going off. I've always had apocalypse dreams. I always do. Always. I don't remember a lot of them, though, because I'm a stoner and I don't remember a lot of dreams. But yeah, scary times indeed. Really wish we had adults in charge, and this moment would push for peace negotiations instead. Absolutely. 100%.
Just one quick sort of unrelated follow-up to that. Do you have any estimate on the number of Russian troops that are currently in Ukraine? Is it 100,000, fewer than 100,000? Can you give us any sense of that? That's it. Thank you.
Thanks, Lita. I don't have any numbers to provide from the podium here. Clearly, tens of thousands of Russian forces still on Ukrainian territory, to include Russian forces that have recently been mobilized. We've seen an increase of those forces being sent to the front lines as replacements recently, but no overall number that I'm able to provide. Thank you.
Well, that was all that they were saying about that. Let's see what
you mentioned. Article 4. Article 4 is absolutely right, that all the channels of communication should be opened for Poland to actually say to the Russians, you know, what is going on here? And it's really important that there is as much discussion and understanding and negotiation as possible, because if we take the alternative explanation that this was a deliberate attack on Poland, then it puts us into Article 5 territory. And that is a very dangerous place to be, because it then poses the question to NATO, what are you going to do? I don't think we want to be there. We want to be very, very cautious and just watch this situation very clearly, understand what actually has happened, but be pretty cautious. Being cautious doesn't mean to say we're going to be weak, but what we don't need to be is to be rash and escalate unnecessarily.
Well, General Lord Dan,
being weak is nothing. I hate that. Like this whole patriarchy shit where like men have been running the world for so long that just any show of empathy or caring or emotions is a sign of weakness to them. And it's disgusting. Like, why can't we all just care about each other instead of saying, oh, well, we should do this and we shouldn't do this because it's a sign of weakness? No, just fucking care.
Thank you once again for laying out all those options so clearly, calmly and dispassionately. Very good talking to you. Thank you very much indeed
for your input. Let's talk now to our international affairs editor, Dominic Waghorn, who was listening to everything that Lord Dannatt had to say. And listening to that, Dominic, it seems we are in tenser times now.
Yes, we are, and as Lord Dannatt was saying there, the paramount importance is establishing the facts, and that we presume is what American, NATO, Western officials are trying to do in what back channels they have with Russia at the moment. In terms of the facts that we know that 2 people have died in an explosion in Poland, in what seems to be in a bit of farmland. A few kilometers from the border with Ukraine. We've seen pictures on social media of a very big crater that doesn't look like it was caused by an agricultural accident, with a tractor and some agricultural vehicle near it badly damaged. And we know that 2 people have died. Now, only one American official has said what he believes has happened, he or she, and that is an unnamed American intelligence official speaking to Associated Press, saying that he says, or she says, missile. So at least one missile has landed fired by Russia and landed in Poland. The Pentagon there is not confirming that. Says it can't confirm these reports, which is interesting because, as I understand, the American military has an ability to track pretty much any ballistic missile above a certain size that once it goes into the atmosphere. And therefore would have some kind of handle on where the missiles, many missiles that Russia was firing today, where they came from and where they went. But at the moment, the Pentagon is not saying it can confirm this. And as we heard there a few minutes ago, the State Department is being very careful as well. The official, as you were saying, says he sounds like a broken record. So what we're seeing is American officials buying time. They're buying time to try and work out what's going on down through these back channels, what they have, which have been damaged during this war, obviously. We know that William Burns, the CIA chief, has met with a Russian intelligence chief earlier this week in Turkey, in Istanbul. He may be trying to use that connection he made with the Russian intelligence chief. And obviously the Americans...
Well, I mean, if we end up going into a nuclear war, you guys, thanks for hanging out with me and choosing me to be your last thing you ever watch. And I love you all. And I'm glad we're all together.
Latvia fully stands with Polish friends and condemns this crime. So, I mean, I think what officials will be trying to work out, intelligence agencies, as Lord Dannatt was saying there, was this deliberate? And if it was deliberate, then it's a breach and it allows NATO to then invoke Article 5. Now, that's the one for all for one clause of the NATO treaty that would mean they would assume or would take any attack on Poland to be an attack on the entire alliance and then respond in kind. It's either a deliberate attack or it's an accident, or it could be a plausibly deniable deliberate attack. And by that, what I mean is I think that it possibly could be the Russians carrying out an attack that they would claim is an accident, but is actually just a way of testing the Western alliance. Whatever it is, and I think the most likely explanation is this was an accident, given that 85 missiles were fired by Russia in targets across Ukraine. The most likely explanation is it was a missile that overshot and landed in Polish territory.
Welcome back, Nikki. You're going to be watching. Thank you for joining me, because we probably are going to be hitting the apocalypse sometime soon today. So glad that we're all together. Like Shake and Bacon says, we are nuclear war pals right now.
And the Ukrainians say that today they've seen the heaviest amount of missile fire since the war began. So I think applying for, assuming...
Just to catch you up if you didn't hear as well. Apparently Russia, just did its normal, missiles thing. They're saying that 1 or 2 accidentally hit somewhere, a little farm in Poland, right around in that little white square. Right. I'll see you guys in another life, dimension, hell, or wherever we end up. We're all going somewhere. So at least we're all together now. So, but the couple of missiles hit in Poland. Poland is a NATO country. So now there's this huge thing of like, Russia did this on purpose? Did Russia do it on accident? Is it really even a Russian missile? Whose missile is this? So there's a lot of backroom talks right now trying to figure out whether or not Poland is like going to be begging NATO to invoke Article 5, which is the all for one, one for all clause, which is you strike one, you strike all of us. So we're trying to figure out whether or not we're going to be going into World War III because of a missile hitting in Poland about 2 hours ago.
Common sense, the most likely explanation is this was an accident, but I think NATO will be, as Lord Danet was saying there, looking very closely at this, not rushing to any conclusions. If it was an attack, a deliberate attack made to look like an accident, it will require a response, and that will require some very cool-headed thinking to be going on in Bali at the G20. Either way, it seems Vladimir Putin effectively trolling the G20 and NATO while they meet, and it will require very calculated response by the alliance as they work out what to do. And I think also try and establish.
Just to ask you, Dominic, what is that process then, given that coordinated action, should it be required, is necessary? What is the process for NATO, given as we all know, that the senior leaders of NATO countries are in Bali at the moment? Jens Stoltenberg, the Secretary General, how does he coordinate this all should Poland call for the Article 4 for an emergency consultation? Are we likely to see a big summit fairly soon?
What would happen, the last time that Article 5 was invoked was in September 2001 after the attack on the Twin Towers in New York, when NATO decided this was an attack on America, organised and planned from overseas, and therefore required a response by the entire alliance. So it would require, the first instance, it would require the Secretary General of NATO to be in touch with government leaders. Then it would require some kind of meeting, whether that's a physical meeting, a summit, or whether it happens through telecommunications or other forms of contact. I don't think that's entirely clear. I think looking at the precedent back in 2001, it happened fairly quickly. It happened by the evening, I think, back then. And therefore, it's something that could happen with the heads of government and the NATO Secretary General deciding together that NATO's Article 5 was breached, and therefore a response is required. I think the convenience is that the leaders are all together in Bali, and it's the early hours there, as Mark was saying there. I think a lot of government leaders will be being woken up in the wee hours of the morning. They're able to meet, but I think the priority at the moment is not to get ahead of ourselves. It's the priority for NATO and officials and for intelligence agencies is to work out what's happened and to get some kind of response from the Russians. And the Russians have already responded by saying that this was nothing to do with them. Just to bring out the statement from the Russian Defense Ministry saying the statements of the Polish media and officials about the alleged fall of Russian missiles in the area of the village where it happened is a deliberate provocation in order to escalate the situation. Those strikes on targets near the Ukrainian-Polish state border were made by Russian rockets. The wreckage published by the Polish media from the scene in the village has nothing to do with Russian weapons. So the Russians are already denying this publicly, but behind the scenes, NATO officials, intelligence agencies will be trying to get an explanation from the Russians and saying, is this an innocent mistake? Has one of your missiles misfired? Has it overshot? From what we know about the attack today, many of them were precision-guided missiles, cruise missiles, if you like. It's rare for those to malfunction, but it is possible. They have malfunctioned in the past. They will be trying to get from the Russians a plausible explanation as to what has happened, that they are then going to be able to present to their own people, to their own governments and leaders, and hope. I think the West will be hoping there is an innocent explanation for this. Otherwise, the alternative, as we've heard from Lord Danet and Mark Stone there, is very dark because it leads us down an escalation process that is hard to reverse once it's begun.
And Dominic, just lastly, in terms of the background, we know that, well, almost since the start of the conflict, that Russia has been warning about those NATO members bordering Ukraine and their role, in particular Poland's role, in acting as a marshalling yard for the munitions that NATO is supplying to Ukrainian forces, the training. It's expressed its concerns about that.
It has, and it has effectively said that Russia is engaged in a sort of proxy war with NATO, with the West. Russian officials have been careful of how they've couched that, the terms they've used to express it, but they've certainly expressed their frustration and their anger that the West is funneling weapons into Ukraine, is training Ukrainian soldiers and the Ukrainian military, is advising them, giving them intelligence. And they have at times warned that could lead to consequences. There have been references and pretty thinly veiled threats by Russian officials that this could lead to attacks on the routes that are being used by the West to funnel weapons into Ukraine. And it's been left open, I think,
why they think
and left ambiguous, and left open to interpretation as to whether they've meant by that
thinly veiled
lorries or trains taking weapons into Ukraine would be attacked within Ukraine
They're just
or
trying to
outside
find a way to get into
Ukraine in neighbouring countries, because any kind of threat that would threaten countries outside of Ukraine could be seen as a threat to NATO. But as I say, they've left that ambiguous. But they certainly expressed their anger and their frustration with this, and been well aware that they are against the NATO alliance. NATO boots are not on the ground, but they are helping Ukraine in many other ways, and they've threatened that. But this, I think, is not an attack on NATO weapon supplies or routes going into Ukraine. It appears to be an attack on an innocent bit of farmland with a couple of tractors getting caught in the crossfire, and tragically 2 Polish people being killed in this hit. And so it would be crucial, I think, for the Polish National Security Council to work out, get facts from that area, get the information they can from the border as to what intelligence they have about the missiles coming in, and then to get a further sense of whether this attack appears to have been deliberate or whether it's simply a missile that was aimed at a number of installations around Lviv, which is a western Ukrainian city very close to the border, that's merely gone astray and has landed.
You guys, I swear, I think winter is officially fucking here. It is freezing. I have turned on my little heater like 3 times now, and it shuts off, and I keep turning it back on. It is so fucking cold.
Was shot and landed in farmland in Poland.
All right.
Dominic, many thanks for the analysis, Dominic.
Yeah, thanks, dude. I want to see what else
are-
is going on. Anything else new? Any updates? There's the press briefing with the Pentagon guy. Emergency meeting has been called. You're cold too? Oh my God. This cold is just brutal right now. Live reports. Yeah, it looks like we just got to wait for the meeting and see what happens next. That's all we can do right now is just wait. And we saw the Pentagon responding. Crisis situation, Poland officials call meeting. Let's see what they're saying.
Polish officials are holding what they say is a meeting on a crisis situation after reports a missile or a rocket has crossed into Poland, killing 2 people. Estonia says they're ready to defend every inch of NATO territory should they need to. News Hub Europe correspondent Lisette Raymer joins us live now. Lisette, you know this border area. How close is where this missile has hit to the Ukrainian border?
It's incredibly close, Melissa. It is such a fine line, as we've spoken about for the last 10 months. That line between, especially Lviv, which is that main city on the western side of Ukraine, it is so close to the border, about an hour's drive. Now, if you put it into Google Maps, if you were to drive from Lviv to this site in...
Is that what you're reading as well? Definitely by accident, by Ukraine? Because they were saying, even in like the Twitter reports and stuff we were watching earlier, they were saying that it looks like an S-300, and that doesn't go long distance, that there's no way that Russia from the east side would be able to hit that area from that far with that kind of missile. And it looks like maybe Lviv is closer to that area, so it's a possibility that it could have been by Ukraine and just blaming it on Russia. Yeah, we just got to keep, like I said, we got to keep our eye out for these independent news people after this, because this is where we're going to get the real stuff, is by our independent streamers.
Poland, it would take about 2 hours. As the crow flies, rather, it is much closer than that. And that is, you know, it is something to consider. Already the reports are kind of suggesting that perhaps this was an accidental hit on Russia's part. They unleashed on Ukraine again today. Over 80 rockets were sent towards Ukraine. 73 of them were intercepted, but they have caused a lot of damage again to the electricity network. But the fact that there has potentially been a rogue one that has landed in Poland is entirely realistic, but it doesn't change the fact that it is incredibly serious. There has been a lot of conversation for the entire period of this war about how significant it would be if there was an attack on NATO territory, and this is it. All of the 30 member states of NATO are required as part of that treaty to defend every country in NATO as if it was an attack on their own. So this is incredibly serious. You do have to remember, however, none of it has been confirmed yet. The US, the Pentagon, Poland and Estonia have all released a statement saying they are aware of the reports, but they have not confirmed them.
Lisa, one quick question for you. It's a yes or no. Do you know if this has happened before?
No, it hasn't happened. It has not happened.
All right.
It hasn't happened.
Lisette, thank you very much.
So we know that it has not happened.
Yeah, this is the first time, and as you say, very, very serious indeed. That is Lisette Raymond with us this morning.
All right. At least those guys are like kind of at least semi-decent when it comes to telling the news. See if there's anybody that we know that's live right now. Nobody that we know. This person is talking about World War III. Russia strikes Poland with 2 missiles live, but his name is Fortnite Master 01. It doesn't look like any of our people are on right now. Of course, they'll never put our people on in the search engine because that's just what they don't do. So yeah. My recommended, man, you guys, like everything that you guys show me, it like things start coming up on my recommendation page, and now I just got all these like random things on my recommendation page. Okay, so it looks like at 1 p.m. Multipolarista is going to be going live about it. That's around the time that I'm going to be getting off, so RBN is on right now, but they're not talking about it. Let's see who's live. So RBN, Jay Buffon's on talking about, looks like Biden. So, okay, nobody's talking about it. Damn. You would think these warmongers would be
President
all
Donald
over
Trump's
this
expected
shit.
to announce his 3rd run for the White House tonight in a speech at Mar-a-Lago.
Look at this. This is
in
wild
Florida.
to me. Like, they're talking about regular news while they've got the rocket strike here on the side. So Polish PM calls meeting after unconfirmed reports of Russian rockets landing in Poland. Comes as Russia fires nearly 100 missiles. Blah, blah, blah. Or did we just miss the good parts? The good parts? Did we just... It's always about Trump.
Whether these unconfirmed reports are accurate.
Change the whole dynamic of the war right now in Ukraine. So, Tom, you heard Louis there from the Pentagon. Now we're finally getting some feedback from those there and from our Department of Defense and how
It looks like
exactly they're
yours.
going to handle this and that they're
We practically watch the same fucking things. From the surf says it's Russia strikes Poland along with other shit. I don't think I watched this. The surfs. Oh yeah, I'm not even subscribed to them. I mean, is there anyone like on Twitter talking about it some more? So I got like 12 more minutes, so I might as well finish it off talking about this. So like World War III, latest. World War III about to start on a Tuesday. Fucking kids, man. Send this man to Poland. What? Not seeing anything. Let me see. You're saying the surf? I don't even watch the surfs. I guess I'm following them. That has nothing to do with that. Nothing to do. Okay. Ticketmaster is the ultimate force for evil in this world. Oh, God. That's good. That was a good one. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything with the surfs. They suck? Okay, good. Good. Then I definitely am glad I'm not watching them on YouTube. Why I love these memes with the 3 and the Harry Potter one. Why is it always World War when happens when it's always U3? Usually it's like, why is it when shit goes down it's always U3 and it's like California, Florida, and like New York or Arizona? Why is everybody wanting to send this guy to Poland? I don't understand. Who is he? Women should fight alongside men in World War III because of equality. Only Chief Keef can save this world. And people are nuts. When your city just got nuked, but you're trying to be the first one to drop a savage meme about it. Oh my God. Oh my God. These people. Me, a millennial, realizing I've lived through 9/11, 2 global financial crises, the worst pandemic, climate emergencies, and now potential World War III. Yep, right there. Just cry, pretending like everything's good. Just dropped honey mustard everywhere. Time for all Russian trolls to launch a disinformation campaign on Twitter. Let's see. That meme with the burnt hands is, yeah, exactly. It's brutal and hilarious. That's what I love about these Gen Z kids. They just come out with like, oh, the apocalypse is happening. I don't give a fuck. And that's what they do. Like, they're just like, how can we make it like cool even though we're dead? Okay. As people contemplate World War III after projected kill 2 people, it's wise to wait for more info. Also keep in mind, U.S. kill innocent people all the time by mistake. Like here in 2019, when a drone killed 30 Afghan pine nut farmers nowhere near the target. There you go. September 19th, 2019, a U.S. drone strike intended to hit an Islamic State hideout in Afghanistan killed at least 30 civilians, farmers, and laborers who were resting after a day's work in the fields collecting pine nuts. See, so let's hope that nothing really happens. Obviously, the memes and stuff are fire. Everything is very hyperbolic and overdone, but we definitely need to sit back and see what happens. We better not go into World War III, I swear to God. Me laughing at World War III memes versus me when I get drafted. Oh, Lordy, I forgot about drafts. Damn. Hitler, what? Jesus Christ, that's ridiculous. Aw. This lady's passed. She was 106. Russian soldier watching the missile he just fired go into Poland. This person, dear diary, today World War III started. The memes were amazing. What a time to be alive. Europe trying to revive Hitler so he can fight in World War III. Oh no. Oh no. Some of these are just wrong. Who would have thought Ticketmaster and Taylor Swift would be responsible for World War III? Yeah, exactly. I'll take my jail sentence. I ain't no, you ain't sending me on to some draft. Either I'm running to fucking Canada or just put me in fucking jail where I got 2 hots and a cot. I'm cool with that too. Fuck yeah. Oh, YouTube held it. I know. See, it's just stupid what they do. And what sucks is like when YouTube holds it, StreamYard doesn't show me the message, so I won't see it either, which sucks. It's popping off in Kiev. Multiple rocket strikes reported. Oh, there's one right there. Boom. Crash. No. I mean, these are targeted. You see so many on RBN, yeah. And these are targeted missiles, so incoming World War III. Why is this video? Oh, it did the pew sound that I did. There it is. Oh, because there's rockets going off in Ukraine doesn't mean that's going to be World War III, though. We realize it's a rocket from Ukraine. LOL, the Russians are way west. That's what they were saying, that this rocket is an S-300, which is just short distance missile, and that it couldn't reach that far from Russians who are on the east coast or on the east side of Ukraine because it hit the west part of Ukraine. Google Maps. So if we go over there and look, so there's Ukraine, okay. And then, okay, so if you look right here, here's the line. There's, well, up to this right here, because it's right here where the river is, because there's Kiev. So this is where Russia is all right here in this like little chunk that looks like a shrimp, like in the shape of a shrimp. So they're in this little chunk right here. Now, where that bomb hit was way over in this area because it hit Poland. So it was over here. And they were saying that it was trying to hit for an area right here. So that missile was an S-300, which is a short distance missile. So they're saying that there was no way that this missile can get from way over here, even in like the closest right here in Kiev. Like there was no way that it can get from right here all the way down over here to this area. But they're saying that because it's a short missile, that it could get from this area to right here. Now, I might be putting on my tinfoil hat for this, but I mean, other than if it could have possibly not been an S-300, it's not a short distance missile. It was an accident by Russia, and it's a Russian missile. It almost seems to me that other than that, it could have been Ukraine knowing that Russia was going to bomb them a bunch of times. Obviously, it said like 80 bombs, and they fought back on. The lady even said they fought back like 76 of them. So only 4 bombs actually hit Ukraine. They took out like 98% of those missiles. So what if they already knew those missiles were coming in because they were able to fight back on them? What if they just hit a missile right there on the edge of Poland to where it's, farmland, there's nothing really going on. They threw that missile there to make it look like Russia did it so that they could get NATO to join in and start battling. But see, that's the bad part about Ukraine that they don't understand, because that one person was saying that if NATO starts to join in on this and it becomes World War III, they're not going to want to do it on NATO land. They're going to do it on non-NATO land. So you think Ukraine's bad now? Once World War III starts and we start fighting, Russia starts fighting, you know, Poland and Ukraine on Ukraine territory, they're fucking done. Ukraine would be done, like overly done, like super cooked. So that's on them. I don't know. It could be any, it could have been any of those reasons that anyone was saying, but I don't know. It just doesn't seem, if it is an S-300, if it is a short distance missile, there's just no way that it could have hit from here all the way over to this area right here. So that's the only thing I have to say about that. And I got like 2 more minutes until I'm done. Nikki, if you want to hop on your stream, I can head over to Twitch really quick and give you the raid. I don't think there's anyone over there watching me. Let me go and check it out and see. I got like 2 more minutes before this is done, and I don't think we're going to get anything new going on until we find out new news, and it's not going to be until later on. And plus, there's so many other things going on. You know, Trump is supposed to be announcing that he's running for office, even though, like, you know, Walker and Warnock aren't finished. They're going into a runoff, so it could ruin that campaign. Yeah, it doesn't look like there's anybody on my show, but I could still raid you. You gonna go join Twitch? Okay, cool. Oh, you're still cleaning. Okay, if I want to raid someone else. Okay, let's see. I don't know who else is all on right now. Yeah, I want to know how you pick a random channel to raid. Because the only ones that I see that are live right now, Hassan is live right now, but he's got 58,000 people watching him, so I'm not interested. And then the only other one that's on right now that that is on my watch list is Cypher PK, but I don't want to send people to Fortnite. Oh, there we go. Okay, raid. Skade. Okay. Let me look for the channel. Okay, Skade from. They're live right now, and they got 6 people watching. Okay, I will head you guys over there. It's counting down right now, doing the 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, I'm going to send you over there. Thank you for that. Okay. I don't even know who that person is. That's awesome. I want to look that person up. Skadefron. There we go. Cool.
There are many endorsement opportunities in China with local companies and multinational companies.
I think it worked. Yeah, I used raid Skade from. Okay, cool. That one is done, so we can definitely get to hook it up over there. You're going to raid your fridge and make some dinner. Good stream. Thank you so much. Thank you, Warren. You're working on homework. Have an awesome meeting. All right. You have fun. Stay off your city skylines. Remember, we're friends on Steam, so I can see when you're playing video games, too. Ugh. Swear Warren hates me now. I'm just kidding. I'm giving you bullshit. I love you, Warren. Check out what's today, Tuesday. Oh, okay. I think he said hi. All right, cool. And then, so keep your eye out for the clips today. We're going to be releasing those throughout the day, or I'm going to be releasing those throughout the day. I think it's 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. Joe Evans is going to be on for his show, hopefully, unless there's something different that happens. I know that's what I have to do too. I've got to go turn on my PlayStation soon because Fortnite's got its update today. So figure out what the fuck is going on. Broke half your mods. Oh no. That's the whole fun of the game though, is getting mods on there so you can break the game.
Some of it seems a bit prepared though. She's very fast.
I don't know who this guy is, but it's great. So he's got a nice little accent. So I guess I'll be watching him. So yeah, keep your eye out for the clips today. Keep your eye out for Joe Evans if he comes on today at some point. I think he should be. Let me check to see if he's got something scheduled up in StreamYard today. Not yet. Okay. And then this weekend, November 19th, Patrick Level's Truth Bombs, Play Ball is going to be on. That's with Amber. She does a lot of that editing for that. So yeah, keep your eye out for that. Thank you all for stopping by today and showing the support. Hopefully it was some good conversations. I'll keep all the rest of the stuff for another day. I think we pretty much got into everything that I really wanted to talk about. I'm still kind of iffy about the Dave Chappelle on YouTube copyright strikes, but the only other thing I didn't talk about was Mike Pence going on with David Muir, and it was kind of boring anyway. So I will find some more stuff to talk about tomorrow. You guys all have a wonderful Tuesday, and I hope to see you all again soon. Stay safe, smoke some weed, get high, try to find an underground bunker. If apocalypse actually does happen, maybe we'll all get on a Discord and hang out so that way we'll all be together before anything blows up in our face. So happy Apocalypse Day. I know it's only Tuesday, but bound to happen. Love you all and peace out.